don't need no introduction and shit.
What's up, everybody? 702 Exotic back in the building. What's going on with y'all? Man, we got something nice today. We got a little audio test. That's what we're gonna be doing. Gonna be testing the audios, man. We had a lot of audio issues this last go around, but I actually think I got it figured out now. So got a few little things going on here. So once everybody pops in, right, we're gonna try our new little things here that we got going on. But that's something new. But we got to see when people pop in because see, I was getting this message last time, and yeah. So what's up, everybody? If you're tuning in right now, this is your man 702 Exotic. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you want to watch another video like this. That's right. And yeah, man, like I said, that's what we got going on. Let me go ahead and pin something to the top of the chat real quick, because I need to put my email right there, right? And that email is going to go ahead and tell me, or tell you rather, it's going to tell you where to be able to hit this link. And this link right here will be able to, you'll be able to join me, but you have to send me an email first, right? Las Vegas Exotic. Let me see. Let me go back. Las Vegas Exotic Genetics at gmail.com. So that is the email. I'm going to go ahead and pin this to the top. So that's pinned to the top right there. All right. And then we're going to start a poll right here. We're going to go indoor versus outdoor. This one's gonna say outdoor. All right. So we're gonna start a poll too. Got a poll going. Wondering what y'all wondering. And if it's spelled wrong, I can't really see, so you know what I mean? You gotta forgive me for that. Forgive me for that. But no further ado, man, until anybody pops in as a guest, you guys can pop in anytime you guys want. I'll send you the email, and then yeah, we can go from there. But until then, we're gonna go ahead and watch this Jesse Michaels, man. Some aliens, right? We're gonna check out some of these aliens with Jesse Michaels, man. And I like to do these type of videos right here. This is what we're gonna start doing. I asked for permission, you know what I mean? If we're allowed to, and they said yes. So, and but we gotta see if corporate's gonna let them and if it's gonna be available. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get to it. So let me get here. Come back over here. I can leave that open. And
do you think other people think that you're the Messiah?
Came out of a conference speaking, and when I walked out the door, this mad lady comes running up to me and tries to kidnap me.
What?
Yeah. My job is to share a truth that everyone's been told is not real. It was 19 years ago, on January the 8th of 2007. I was down and out and lost everything. Lost my home, and I'm having to apply for free lunch for my kids. Sick with Crohn's disease. And if anybody has Crohn's knows how bad that is. You know, you're in the restroom 10 times a day. I was at 20 times a day at that point in my life.
In January of 2007, while fishing with friends in North Carolina, Chris Bledsoe witnessed a series of bright, intelligently moving orbs in the sky. That moment doesn't end. It starts a series of unexpected and seemingly miraculous
Let's see if I can put the comments over here
events.
because I can't see the comments.
And
So let
then
me see if I can put them
my
right
Crohn's
here.
was gone. I had no more sickness.
In the days and weeks that follow, the phenomena continue. The lights appear again and again, sometimes at a distance, sometimes directly over his home. He reports numerous encounters that don't resemble crafts, lights, or UFOs at all, but what he describes as a luminous, feminine presence, deeply unsettling in its archetypal familiarity. Her communication seems to go beyond the cliches and platitudes of normal contact experiences. They touch on humanity's deep moral decay, cycles of civilizational collapse, judgment, the apocalypse, and renewal. They revolve around humanity reaching a threshold.
I came back excited to tell it. That's when the next 5 years of darkness I talk about in my book started.
His UFO experiences only served to make him more of a pariah in his local community of Fayetteville, North Carolina, where fundamentalist Christianity
Fayetteville.
is
Let's
the
go,
only
baby.
way, and anything paranormal is considered demonic. NASA and the CIA show up at Bledsoe's door. And not just anybody at NASA and the CIA. I'm talking about a high-level NASA mission controller who has worked on launches at Cape Canaveral since the Challenger missions in the 80s.
And he said I was at the dinner table with the president and handed me that.
He said that?
Yeah.
Whoa.
And this. Yeah.
Scientists, military, and other intelligence officials follow suit. They grill Bledsoe on his experiences. Some imply that certain dates and
What's going on,
symbols
Be There,
stated
I see
by the
you,
lady
champ.
align with things they're already monitoring and have seen from other authoritative sources.
So they have like a scientific model of how these angels work at NASA.
They know a lot more than we think they do.
Oh yeah, they definitely do.
I personally don't know what Chris Bledsoe experienced and continues to experience to this day, but I know that his story doesn't sit at the edge of history forever. It's either going to collapse under scrutiny or force us to redraw the map. In
Let's
this
go.
special episode of American Alchemy, we have a markedly different conversation than the one that Chris Bledsoe is used to having.
He took you to Zanesville, Ohio, where you recovered a little piece of metal.
Yeah.
Do you know who's from Zanesville,
Yeah,
Ohio?
I do. T. Townsend Brown, right?
What?
Instead of just retelling his story, we make some pretty mind-blowing connections.
He likes
from it.
Townsend Brown a
Ones
lot. I hear
involving
him say
secret societies
Townsend
with
Brown a
access
lot
to
on
time
this show
travel,
on Jesse Michaels.
anti-gravity experiments done in mid-century America, space metal with curious properties that interact with consciousness in weird ways, what exists on the dark side of the moon, and what the world will look like in the next decade. So without further ado, sit back, relax, and prepare to ascend into the astral plane with this week's American alchemist, Christopher Bledsoe.
Let's go.
This has been a long time coming. I'm here with Chris Bledsoe, who many call kind of a super experiencer because, you know, I was just rereading your book, UFO of God, and your life is really just remarkable. You've had all these incredible, deep experiences.
Damn.
And I want to talk about those experiences.
Right.
But I also want to talk, because your story is well known at this point. I also want to talk about some of the deeper philosophies that you've kind of come into based on your experiences, and maybe have kind of a metaphysical conversation. But I want to start with this very interesting discussion that we just kind of sparked up as you were walking in, which is you have this golden pin on your jacket. What is
Right.
that pin?
Well, that pen was given me by someone everybody has read about, right? Down at Cape Canaveral, without saying names.
Okay.
And it signifies being
Hell yeah, Be the Arrow. Where is it at, baby? I'm trying to figure that out.
off planet. So from what I'm told, the people that get these have been in space before.
Ooh.
So, astronauts, pretty much.
Right.
And why do you think this person gave that pin to you?
At the time, I had no clue other than what they were telling me. It involved taking me into the astronaut crew quarters and going through a whole thing because I was, in other words, when this thing first happened, this person from NASA came to my house with a backpack and
Damn.
a whole lot of credentials.
Damn,
that had
son,
everything
where'd
from
you
Area
find
51
this?
To the CIA and all that combined, NASA. And he tested the whole family with metal. He put a piece of metal in my hand. I was the last one to be tested. So all four of my kids and my wife, they all went into this one room. So she got Ryan. He got Ryan's the first one. And kind of made it secret. He took Ryan into a room, tested him, and said, now you go get the next person, but don't tell them. So he went out and got each person in the family, tested them with this metal. They brought me in last, and I had no idea what I was doing. I sat down on the edge of the bed. It was in Ryan's room. And he put this piece of metal right here, and I said, what do you think of that? I said, well, it looks like a piece of aluminum, like a postage stamp. That size, thin.
Was it light?
Very light, yeah. It was kind of a dull gray. It wasn't like shiny. It was aluminum of some sort. And he reaches in his backpack and pulls out another piece of metal that was different. And it was like aluminum foil. It looked like foil. And it wasn't crease. You couldn't crease it, but it would wrinkle, but it would fold back out.
Damn.
But it wouldn't crease. You couldn't crease it. It would kind of roll up. And
You hear that a
straighten
lot.
out.
You hear that
When
a
he
lot.
put that in this hand, it somehow or another created this current that went through where it was communicating. This part of the metal was communicating with that part of the metal.
damn.
And when that happened,
Damn.
it caused me to my eyes to roll back, and he reached up and snatched it out of my hand real quick and said, why you? This is in the book, by the way. And I had no idea what happened. He said, why you this close? I said, excuse me, what do you mean, why me? And he said, well, I would have known you were lying about being taken if you hadn't had a reaction to this. And he said, I've only ever seen 2 others, and they were nothing like yours. That's what he told me. So that started the next 2 or 3 years studying with them.
Oh, Lord.
And I'm being kind to my friend
Damn, that's
without saying
crazy.
his name, but you know
Yo,
who
yo,
I'm talking
yo.
I know who you're talking about. Can I?
What's up, everybody in the building? We got Piff in the building. We got Token Tom in the building. Be the Arrow. What's going on, champ? Hey, Token Tom, man. If you want to hop in, man. I think I got it, champ. I think I got it. Let me know. You got the link. You can jump in.
I say who it is
Yeah,
because I think it's Tim Taylor, who's a NASA mission controller.
Okay, so far, homie got abducted, right? And NASA came out and did this study with like some sort of foil. And as soon as he put that, it reacted something. And only people who abductees and stuff like that react to that. So that's where we at right here.
His name is now
The story's barely beginning, by the way.
Yeah, we should definitely be respectful to him as somebody who doesn't maybe want to do public interviews himself, but I think he's put himself out there enough to.
Yeah.
So who is this Timothy Taylor figure showing up in Bledsoe's life? He's a mysterious rocket scientist who's done mission control for NASA since the 80s. That part is not really disputed, and it's well documented in his autobiography, Launch Fever. At one point, Tim Taylor even had a small YouTube account with videos showing his deep levels of access to NASA facilities. He's also taken people like Bledsoe through Kennedy Space Center. Religious studies professor Diana Pasulka, along with others, have said that he's worked directly with Elon Musk.
Oh,
But where it gets interesting is that he's also popping up in the lives of numerous UFO experiencers, claiming that he's a time traveler and works for an angel. Basically, he exists at the intersection between rigorous, real-world aerospace work and totally insane UFO lore. And that's why he's still American Alchemy's most requested guest. Some of the things that Tim Taylor told Chris would wholesale overhaul our understanding of reality,
Oh,
if
damn.
at all true.
And that's what I be
Really
trying to
smart
say,
guy,
man.
like genius level, and
Really?
Genius.
yeah, I enjoyed his company. We did a lot of stuff together. We traveled together. We were able to recover some metal together.
Wow.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
yeah.
Where was that?
Say-
I was in Ohio,
In Ohio. Where in Ohio?
in a little town called Zanesville, yeah.
Zanesville, Ohio.
They went to go
Do you know
recover
who's
some metals.
from Zanesville,
Yeah,
Ohio?
I do. T. Townsend Brown, right?
What?
T.
He took you to
Townsend
Zanesville, Ohio,
Brown.
where you recovered a little piece of metal?
Yeah, pretty good piece, about that big.
You're sure you went to Zanesville?
Yeah. In fact, I went in a machine shop, he and I, and had a piece sawed off the metal, which he took with them. And we gave the other piece back to the person that had it. And I knew the
Damn.
person, and he wouldn't give it to anyone in the world, but he called me, and he drives up in his yard, and there's this red piece of glowing. He sees this thing over his house, and it goes away when he
Whoa.
drives up, but there's a piece of red glowing metal in the yard. He lets it cool, picks it up, and puts it in a shoebox, and there it stays for 15 years.
Damn.
No way.
And when he found out about me and read the story, he calls me and says, I got something I want you to see. And so
For
I
real.
called Taylor, and he and I flew up there.
For real.
this is either engineered to make me excited, or this is the most remarkable story ever.
Man, that's crazy.
I almost lost it during this part of the interview.
My man said something came out the sky, dropped it for me,
Zanesville,
and
Ohio
left.
is where Thomas Townsend Brown was born. To me, Townsend Brown is the most interesting historical figure in the 20th century that no one knows about.
And yes, I agree, Jesse Michaels, because I know from him of you because of you, right? And that's you talk about him a lot, but I'm gonna let him talk about it.
I've independently uncovered an absurd amount of information that leads me to believe that Townsend Brown essentially discovered anti-gravity in the 1950s.
Woo! He
was
said,
funded by the
"Damn,
same
son,
physics
where'd you find
patrons at the
this?"
University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, that sent science down the wrong path with quantum gravity in 1957.
on
He
purpose
was
though.
also backed by the highest levels of CIA and aerospace. There are even videos
They did that
of
shit on
Townsend
purpose.
Brown at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, celebrating because his experiments presumably worked. Here he is with a bottle of champagne. And we know, due to real declassified documents written by the head of Australia's nuclear program, Harry Turner, and often cited by UFO whistleblower David Grush, that University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill was waist deep in anti-gravity research.
Dang,
We
shout out to
also
North
have a
Carolina.
deathbed confession of French aerospace representative Jacques Cornillon saying that Townsend Brown's experiments worked in Paris in the Montgolfier facility in 1956.
The tests were very, very, very tricky. It was sensitive to so many things in vacuum. Finally, it worked, so that was a positive result.
And that's just the tip of the
Damn,
spear. We also have Carl Nell, who helped set up
Anti-gravity,
Army
yo.
Futures Command, which led all tech modernization efforts for the Army, implying that Townsend Brown made breakthroughs in the world of gravity.
Jesse's done a number of podcasts looking into Townsend Brown and some other very interesting, like heretical technologies. So I'd invite people, an unsolicited plug, to check out some of Jesse's podcasts.
Hell yeah.
Not to mention NASA's top scientist in electrostatics, Charles Bueller, literally leaving NASA to start a propellantless gravity-based propulsion system that he says is a derivative of Townsend Brown's work.
The term asymmetric electrical pressure is similar to Thomas Townsend Brown's research into asymmetrical capacitors.
Those older papers and that older subject matter is probably valid for most of the point.
I could go on, but I'll
Holy
spare
damn.
you. The fact that Chris Bledsoe was taken to Zanesville, Ohio, an otherwise completely unremarkable little Ohio town, seems like a very unlikely coincidence. And the fact that the goal there was to retrieve an exotic piece of metal seems even more unlikely, especially given that Tim Taylor was escorting Bledsoe there. As you're about to hear in this conversation, There are tons of other bizarre connections between NASA mission controller.
Yo, so they're talking about that metal, right? That rock. They went to go to his homie's house to go collect that metal, right? Now they're talking about anti-gravity. That's the same thing that Bob Lazar was talking about with the element, right? That element, something 15, element 915, N15 element. Somebody put it down in the chat if you know what I'm talking about. And that's that stable version of anti-gravity, right? Material that you need, pretty much like their gas, right? And the only reason they've been able to put it on the elements chart is because they can recreate it here now, so they know it's a real element, right? 115, that's what it is. So it's element 115, and they went to go recover this piece of rock, right? And got a little slice of it just so they can have, right, on some homie hookup for the free skis, right? So, but as you know, that's what's up. That's the thing with these podcasts and all this stuff, right? They never just tell you the truth. They want you to, you know, put it together, right? It's like telling you without telling you, you know, and they're not gonna say it. I guarantee you, they're not gonna say that that's the anti-gravity element 115 that they went to go pick up. But that's what I'm thinking, man.
Tim Taylor and mid-century anti-gravity inventor Townsend Brown. This episode is sponsored by Superpower. On this show, we spend all of our
Gotta
time
let the sponsors
trying
go,
to
man.
understand reality.
Can't block
but
the
most
homie
of us
hustle.
are simply guessing when it comes to our own health. With conventional healthcare, you're firing totally blindly. You go to the doctor, you get a few basic labs, and you're told everything looks normal. But that thing that doesn't feel great, the chronic headaches, the stomach pain, the back pain, you don't ever really get insight on any of it. You don't get the proper data you need. You get no actionable insights.
Oh, 428
and no real
in the
plan.
house. Salute,
That's
champ.
why Superpower caught my attention.
Jump
Superpower
in, man.
gives you a
want,
deep look at
send
what's
an email.
actually happening inside your body.
If you're not busy,
It's a
send an
single blood
email.
draw,
You
either
can
at
jump
home
on,
or a nearby
jump on the
lab,
live.
and they measure over
Test out the
100
audio.
biomarkers,
We had issues
way more than
yesterday
a
or the other
standard
day.
physical. You get real data on things like hormones, metabolism, heart health, vitamin and mineral levels, even environmental toxins. Toxins that can accumulate and cause very bad things to happen in your body. What I like is that Superpower doesn't stop at the numbers. They turn those results into a clear,
Watching a sponsor
personalized
right now.
action plan. What to
Gotta
focus on
give
with
the
nutrition,
sponsor, you
what
know,
supplements
the shout out.
actually make sense for you, lifestyle adjustments. You can even get your true biological age and can track how that changes over time. Instead of guessing when it comes to your health, you finally have a map. Your full health blueprint activated with Superpower. Not only did Superpower reduce their price to just $199, but for a limited time,
You
our
can get
listeners
the
get an additional
promo
$20
code.
off with code ALCHEMY. Again,
Alchemy.
that's
Hit that
$20
code
off
right
with
there.
code ALCHEMY. Head to superpower.com and use code ALCHEMY at checkout for $20 off your membership. After you sign up, they'll ask you how you heard about them. Please make sure to mention this podcast to support the show.
All right, back to the show.
And so, if there's a connection between this NASA
I asked
mission
Jesse Michaels
controller
too if I
who's
could play
obsessed
this on
with
my live. He
UFOs
said, yeah.
and this mid-century
So,
anti-gravity
we good. That's
inventor,
why I
and
got to
you're
play a
literally
sponsor. You know what I
going
mean?
To Zanesville,
Can't cut
Ohio,
out the sponsor,
to
dog.
collect UFO material, which is where that's a random place, and that's where
Right.
Townsend Brown was born in 1905. And there are newspaper, clippings of him creating, wireless telegram basically at the age of 12 or something. That's crazy.
Yeah. True story.
Two stories.
That's so crazy.
And I can show you the medal. I'll give you a picture of it.
Can't please?
Oh,
Yeah.
damn.
Can I feel the medal?
Well, I don't own it.
You don't own it. Okay. Yeah, Tim has it. I would love to see the picture. Yeah. And learn anything else about the Zanesville trip. That's
Yeah,
just
that could
fascinating.
Tim
definitely
got it originally.
that could be
Mm.
element
Then Dr.
115
Putoff
right
got
there,
another
y'all.
piece of it.
And Putoff got another piece.
Remember,
So I
like in
took
Rick and
Tom
Morty,
DeLonge
they
and
had that
Lou
little
Elizondo
shining
in
rock they had to go
Zanesville
get
to
when they got stuck.
Pennsylvania, or Ohio. I mean,
You took him to Ohio, to Zanesville.
I took them to the same guy's house and got them a piece of it as well.
Oh,
Were
damn.
Tom DeLonge and Lou aware of Townsend Brown?
He giving the
I
homie
didn't discuss
You didn't
son.
discuss that with him.
No,
So,
but that's where some of their metal came from.
Jesse Michaels, he gonna hook you up too with some, man. If you be patient, he gonna hook you up with some too.
Plus some that I had. I had 3 pieces of it.
Do you think Putoff knows about Townsend Brown?
Yeah,
He does?
yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, he told me he met him.
Yeah.
But that he never, he didn't know how far he got,
Right.
sort of
Yeah.
thing.
The Rick and Morty rock.
How it can be a little cheeky, but interesting.
Yeah.
For the audience, I mean, I'm sure they know this, but I'm obsessed with this mid-century anti-gravity inventor, Thomas Townsend Brown.
Right.
Who I am
told you.
very
Told
convinced.
y'all. See, I ain't seen this. I ain't seen this, and I've never heard Jesse Michaels say this, that he's obsessed with Townsend Brown, and that's crazy because I kind of knew it because every episode he talks about him, I'm like, yo, this guy's got to be obsessed with him. But no, I see why he is now. He always talks about him, and he's like the founder of that shit. You know what I mean? And I didn't know he was the first one to actually like make the anti-gravity. You know what I mean? In the lab was like a successful test.
Real updates in the world of gravity. He was a very nuts and bolts, inventor, and he worked at the highest levels
Right.
of military government with
I love that word. I love that word. If anybody knows me, right, knows I love that word. At the highest levels.
every kind of aerospace company you could guess.
Right.
I mean, there's an FBI document on him saying he was the foremost radar expert in the Navy. And he was in charge of the Philadelphia experiment, actually, which has all this lore about it. And who knows whether the, prima facie story of that is true. But he was at, Martin Vega the year that Skunk Works formed.
Right.
He, knew Curtis
Lockheed
LeMay,
Martin.
knew Bill Lear, the inventor of the Learjet.
Right.
He was being
Yeah.
funded by the guys who were sending physics down the wrong path while he was doing his, I think, more vital.
I told you all, we've been guided down the wrong path since the beginning. But they did it on purpose. And I don't know the reason why exactly, so I'm not going to spread no lies. But I do know that they did. So mostly everything that we know as physics and stuff like that, it's like tweaked a little bit. I'm not saying it's 100% wrong. Everything is wrong. But they did it on purpose. So because anything that science has to follow, it's like some laws, right? Like they're written, like, or you have to prove it again and stuff like that. And they went ahead and mixed up everything in the beginning, which caused this spiral snowball to just grow big and wild, So here we are years and years later, trying to figure everything out again, like day one.
Kind of anti-gravity experiments. But the kind of subplot of his life is...
But that's what the real scientists are doing behind closed doors, because they can't go by conventional science no more, and especially with quantum, when they're doing quantum physics. Because quantum physics is kind of like quantum computing, where quantum computers, that they never, that's why like ChatGPT never spits out kind of the same thing, but it ain't never the same thing. Like you can never get it the same because that's quantum computing. It's like us. Unless we're reading a full-blown script, and you have us say something, we're going to say it just a little bit different it's hard to keep the same thing because we run off of quantums, right? They say we're quantum, right? Our brains are quantum, and that's why we're always like receiving and sending. It's always changing. Bits are always changing, right? The same thing with this, it's quantum.
That gravity and time are very interrelated in general relativity. And what I found so fascinating is I made this whole documentary on Thomas Townsend Brown, and at the end of the documentary, I make this connection that Tim Taylor told your son, Ryan Bledsoe, that he was part of a secret time travel group in Nassau in the Bahamas, and that Thomas Townsend Brown was the president. And even then, maybe I would have dismissed it out of hand, but I had become this amateur historian of Townsend Brown. And he would always go to Nassau in the Bahamas. And then if you read Tim Taylor's biography, Launch Fever, he's in Nassau a lot. So that does kind of place them both in,
It's called
in Nassau at some time.
It's called the Nassau Group.
The Nassau Group.
Yeah.
So he took you to was the piece of metal, this UFO metal
For
in
real,
Zanesville
champ.
related to Townsend Brown at all? Or?
Well, there was a lot of conversation about that, and the amount of activity around that place, he said, was all part of the land, because where this metal was found, it was near the Indian Serpent Mound.
Hell yeah, champ.
Right.
Salute,
So
man.
they know that there's a lot of activity. And he told me stories about Townsend Brown.
What did he say about Townsend Brown?
Well, you know, his daughter was doing a book, and Tim was helping her with that book.
Tim was helping her with the
Yeah,
book.
he helped write that book. Her book.
Ooh.
I didn't know that.
Wait a minute, we
I
gotta go
do
read
know
that
I
book.
found an Amazon review from his daughter about Tim Taylor's book, Launch Fever.
Right.
And this was before anybody knew about, Tim Taylor, because he hadn't even been written about, pseudonymously in
Right.
American Cosmic by Dana Pasulka. This is in the early 2010s.
Yeah.
So he was helping Linda Brown write her book.
Yeah.
I
Sure
didn't
was.
know that. That's amazing.
Yeah, fact.
And what did he say about Townsend himself?
He told me he'd heard stories of these little things coming and landing in his yard and getting out and giving him information.
Oh.
That's real. Well, at least according to his daughter did a sort of AMA on.
And landing in his yard and getting out and giving him information.
That's real. Well, at least according to his daughter.
What? I'm gonna go
Of
back.
These little things coming and landing in his yard and getting out and giving him information.
That's real. Well, at least according to his daughter did a sort of AMA on, Ask Me Anything on Reddit. She talked about beings coming down.
Hold on a second. I'm gonna go back. And it's crazy because like every time somebody has experiences like that, it's like they just download knowledge into them. It's like they don't even. There's no learning when they come around. They just, you know what I mean?
Ask Me Anything on Reddit. She talked about beings coming down and then entering. I think it was like they were in the kitchen with her dad and her, and they were these sort of pale skinned, looked alien, like looked from like they were from another planet or had existed in another environment, and they talked all night, and then
Talked all night.
they wake up the next morning. She thinks it's a dream, and then 2 nights later they're at dinner, and she brings up the dream, and Thomas Townsend Brown goes, "That wasn't a dream," or something like that.
Right, exactly.
Wow. Did he ever insinuate on what the Nassau group, this time travel group in the Bahamas, was doing?
He didn't. He didn't. He just told me at one point
you're not telling us.
that he thought I may have to go hide out there a while.
Oh damn!
Really?
He was
That
hiding.
Nassau.
when it really first happened, way back. Because it was a dangerous place. The whole world was different in 2008. It was the highest secured thing in the world. The UFO was more classified higher than the nuclear bomb.
But you would have to hang out in Nassau.
Well, they mentioned that I may have to go there for
More
protection.
classified than the
Interesting.
nuclear bomb. Yo, that's
So what's there?
I don't know. That was all he told me.
This is a good episode.
He writes in Launch Fever, his biography, about flying these cargo jets back and forth between Florida and Nassau.
Right.
And I think the guy he was flying with was like selling drugs, and he didn't even know about it. Like it was like he was just kind of being like along for the ride or whatever.
Right.
But then he says some really trippy things around. He goes, time moved differently in Nassau, but he's saying it like it's like island time,
Right.
So it's like, and then you're like, is that coded? Because he's telling you, that in Diana Pasulka about the Adjustment Bureau and like, timeline hopping.
Right.
And then he's saying time moves different in this Nassau group, but in Nassau. But then he's also telling your son and you that he's in a secret time travel group with Townsend Brown in Nassau. So I'm like, is he writing in code there?
Yeah.
You
Those
think so?
guys are all about, they're so super secretive. They'll tell you things and code like that. And it's up to you to get it or not. But
What did I say? What did I say? I told you, man. They tell you these things, and it's up to you if you get it or not. I told you that's element 115 that he's got right there, champ. He's telling you, man. Why would they? Come on now.
yeah,
I want to meet the Nassau group. How do we do that?
I have no idea. I don't know how I would find them or what. That was something told to me years ago, and Ryan heard it, and it never left me. But as far as where and how and who, I don't know. We never got involved.
Yeah, because it's so like The world's so interesting because he
It
also,
is.
I
God
believe,
damn
he
it, it
told
is.
you and I think Diana Pasulka that, he said read the Adjustment Team or watch the Adjustment Bureau.
Yep.
Which is the original was a Philip K. Dick book.
Right.
And then this movie with Matt Damon, and it's all about adjusting little variables to change timelines.
Mm.
And he viewed his role in reality as doing that.
Right.
And so do you think he actually viewed his role as doing that as part of this sort of timeline adjustment
You
team?
mean 10?
Tim Taylor, yeah.
He's told me, he was the one who told me to watch the movie. He said, that movie was created for a reason. Watch it. It's a lot like that. And then he said,
that's why I tell everybody. I always tell people, I'm like, these movies, bro, these movies are literally just so, because it's so hard to tell someone something and explain something to them. But these people can actually explain it to like Steven Spielberg, and they can make a movie out that shit. And hey, it's up to you if you believe it or not, And that's why I always say, man, I'm like, anything that we have ever thought about has been and done, and more. Because there's nothing that has ever happened that our mind can think of, right? Our minds are too small, too little to think of shit that hasn't happened, right? There's so much shit that we don't even know about for us to even fathom the things that haven't happened. You know what I mean? Billions, trillions of years, possibly. You don't even know how long we've been here. And you're going to say, oh, that's not true. Oh, that didn't happen. Yeah, okay. But that's some crazy stuff right there, boy.
and in that movie, you'll find a character named the Hammer. And he said, and I work for the Hammer.
Ooh.
And the Hammer works for God. And I'm like,
What?
hey, you got to tell me more. The Hammer works
Hold
for
on.
God. And I'm like, hey, you got to tell me more than that. And that's all he would tell me. He said, I work for the Hammer, and the Hammer works for God.
And what do you think the
Ooh,
Hammer is?
Damn.
Well, in the movie, he's like an archangel.
What's up, everybody? Salute
the
everybody in
guy
the chat,
that-
Miss Rasa.
The lesser beings could
Be the arrow still chilling. 428. What it do,
stop
baby?
What was happening
What's going on with
because
you, man?
of love, if you watch the movie.
Make sure y'all hit that like button.
So they send the Hammer down to stop what was happening because of love, if you watch the movie.
That's so fascinating.
So they send the Hammer down to take care of it. And, of course, I won't spoil the movie, but yeah.
We gotta watch that movie.
Well,
We gotta watch that
but-
movie now.
so- yeah, whoa. I mean, do you think that he's in touch with a celestial being, with an angel?
Huh.
He insinuated that,
Yeah.
and I can probably believe that. Yeah.
Damn.
Something.
See, man? That's
Yeah.
Whether it's an
crazy.
angel or what, I don't know.
Yeah, they're
Just-
communicating with something.
Because he seems to show up in a lot of super experiencers' lives. So there are people who've had experiences here and there, and then there are people like you who have repeated experiences and
Right.
a lot of interactions with this other world.
Right.
And I found it very interesting that he showed up in Charles Hall's life, and then he shows up in your life. I think he knew Whitley Strieber as well.
Did you say Timothy Taylor?
Oh, damn. I know that guy.
He's a good friend of ours.
Oh, so you know Timothy Taylor.
He came here because he found out about Charles. And that was when his daughter, the one who had the baby, was like, what was she? Maybe in 5th grade when they came the first
Wow.
time. Yeah,
Why do you think he became interested in your story?
My wife can answer all questions.
because he realized that as far as he was concerned that Charles was the real article was legitimate. And as I say, it's really concerned me because I've tried to email other people because he brought other people to meet us and visit with us. One of the guys cooked right here in my kitchen, and so I tried to contact those people because I had emails for them, and I never got a response about what happened to him.
So What do you think it is with him? Do you think there's some mandate from the Hammer, from this angel or something, to interact with experiencers?
Not for real.
If he's being truthful about that, I would say that's probably correct.
For
There's some
real.
kind of mandate guiding him. So he's definitely connected. I mean, big time.
Do you think he was being truthful, or?
Yeah. Well, you know, sometimes you wonder time guiding him. So he's definitely connected. I mean, big time.
Do you think?
Damn, when you got plugs from another universe, bro, think about that, homie. You got alien plugs, bro. Come on, man. You got alien plugs, bro.
Damn, son, where'd you find this? Cannon, get set.
Think he was being truthful, or?
Yeah. Well, you know, sometimes you wonder if it's all smoke and mirrors designed to throw you off
Right.
course, you know. But
Right. Oh, Beans, what
I
up,
listened
homie?
to everything. I worked with him for 3 or 4 years.
Audio check.
Before Diana met him, I introduced
Check
Diana
this audio.
to him. We were working on crazy stuff like stem cell research, and I have no idea what that.
Wait,
For
what?
3 or 4 years. Before Diana met him, I introduced Diana to Tim. We were working on crazy stuff like stem cell research, and I have no idea what that is and what proteins are and anything medical, right? I'm a carpenter, and yet I'm reading papers at night that they would send me, and my job was to draw whatever came out of me, whatever I saw. And
Page Asia
so
Pippin.
usually every week I'm sending in some sort of diagram of cells and
For real,
all
huh?
kinds of things.
Whoa.
Yeah.
As you know, on American Alchemy, we cover a lot of technology that goes beyond human
All right,
limits.
sponsor time.
This is about technology that helps the body catch
All right,
up
so the
and
homie
feel
Jesse
good.
Michaels let
I'm
me
talking
use
about
this
the
video
Iris
right
Core
here, so I
LED
gotta
face
let
mask,
the
a
sponsors
red light
play.
therapy
You know what I
system
mean?
that uses clinical grade wavelengths to boost skin cell energy production. The same exact principle used in the top recovery clinics and biooptimization labs in
Gotta
the
get
world.
that face
I've been
looking
using it
good,
most nights,
Beans.
10 minutes
You know
while
what I
I'm reading,
mean?
prepping for a show or decompressing. It's
You can get
completely
the-
hands-free,
you can get
comfortable,
the-
and engineered to deliver consistent
code,
light
get a
intensity across
discount.
the face, not that uneven scatter most
Look at
cheaper
that.
masks
He masked
use.
up like
It feels your
702.
face is taking a warm bath. What it's doing
I'm
is
gonna come
called
on with one of those next
photobiomodulation,
time.
stimulating mitochondria to
Hey,
repair
that looks
tissue,
hot.
reduce inflammation, and improve circulation. You actually feel the calm and rejuvenation after a session. I've tested a few of these. This one really stands out for the build quality. It feels like it
Damn.
was built in a high-precision lab, and it's not just a cheap beauty gadget. So if you're into real evidence-based
Yes,
recovery tech, this
sir.
belongs in your setup. Head to iRestore.com and use code Jesse25 for an exclusive
There it is,
discount.
Jesse25.
Again,
Y'all go check it out.
iRestore.com, Code Jesse25.
Oh, check it
Red
out.
light therapy has really been a game changer for me, so I hope you love it.
This is your
So it's
man
almost like
702
you
Exotic.
were
Make sure you hit that like
part of
button,
like a
subscribe to the
secret
channel
science
if you want to watch
program
another video like
where you were
this.
given material to look at. You didn't even
Back at
have
it.
context on the material, but you were getting downloads about it.
Yeah, yeah.
And do you think any of that made it into his, you know, he had a lot of biomedical patents. He had a company called Vivex Biotechnologies, which he sold for $88 million. Do you think
That's who I was working with.
That's
that,
who you were
that
working with.
company.
Wow.
Yeah. They were creating what's called a Viograph, which
Okay.
was it was based on metal, the metal that they recovered, and
Oh, damn.
infusing it into this, the particular, and I have video of the operation of a young lady, the first operation in the United States, was a Spanish lady that had bone cancer in her thigh, and they removed like 2 inches of the bone.
At the femur.
And they wrapped it with this Viograph, injected stem cells into it, and in like 60 days,
Shout out to the homie Nesta Giz from the Boxing Voice. Just went to go get some of them stemmies. His shoulder's doing amazing.
her bone had regrown, the pain was gone, she could walk again.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, that is a operational, functional, you know, company that does real things in the biomedical
Shout out
world.
to the stem cells.
And what makes it fascinating is that maybe the backdrop of that company is recovered UFO material.
Exactly.
And somebody like you intuitively downloading the functionality.
I
Is
don't
that-
know how much good I did, right? But it was to come from a carpenter being ridiculed by the whole community, to secretly drawing diagrams for NASA was, it was a pretty cool thing.
Well, you have all these rumors of like Philip J. Corso and, him being involved in, I think Army's, foreign technology desk and transferring, crash materials from Roswell, for example, to Bell Labs so they could, help build, semiconductors, things like that. But what you don't hear of is people like yourself who are intuitively kind of tapped in, downloading aspects of the functionality of some of these technologies. That's really interesting.
Well, that I'm learning over the last night.
Dang, this guy's still learning, bro. Still learning. That's insane right there.
It's been 19 years I've been doing this, right? A long time. And in that time, I've learned a lot, and I keep learning every day.
Shout out to him.
There is a great
shout out to him.
Correlation with the phenomenon guiding us and creating things in our path. And if you're smart enough, then you pay attention to that.
Hey, Zoom, shout out to you, homie.
All kinds of things come.
I see you in the
it's
chat.
Like being Sherlock Holmes.
You should hit that like button.
What's next? So that's kind of the way I've modeled my life is letting it guide my path rather than me try to drive the bus. I call it the lady, right? Or the phenomenon.
Yeah. It's like the way is not the way. Like you have to, or I think there's a concept called Wu Wei, which is effortless effort. And there's sort of sitting back, being receptive, listening to the signs, and then just kind of, following the path. And that's an art. It's easy to get into this mode of being attached and trying to over-engineer outcomes.
Exactly. For example, in the music world, I wrote about something that happened. I was given a message that that the divine world encodes messages within the music that we listen to, and we just don't know it, right? So
yo.
Damn, son, where'd you Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Messages within the music that we listen to, and we just
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Damn. What'd he say?
just don't know it, right? So it's being the divine world encodes messages within the music that we listen to, and we just
The man them celebrate Eid, the trap still running on Christmas Day. The man them celebrate, the man them celebrate Eid, the trap still running on Christmas Day.
don't know it, right? So it's being channeled by these musicians. And that led me on to how manifestation works is because
that's why that sounds so good to our ears, right? We just don't know what notes, what strings they're pulling, but it is.
Because when I was given that information, I was given 5 or 6 songs, 5 right away and 1 at another point. And when I read the lyrics on it, it was like, oh my God, this is crazy. This is crazy. I couldn't believe it. You hear these songs, but you never read the words. Well, that day in 2012, I said, Lord, I wish I could tell Sammy Hagar.
The man them celebrate Eid, the trap still running on Christmas Day. The man them celebrate Eid, the trap still running on Christmas Day.
From Van Halen or Robert Plant or I said, Lord, I wish I could tell Sammy Hagar from Van Halen or Robert Plant or Jimmy Page or Neil Young. These are the guys, or Metallica, right?
Message.
These are the guys that I just said the simple little prayer. You know, right off the top of my head, Lord, I wish I could tell them, wow, this is what I was thinking. Last year, on my birthday, I get a phone call, and it's Sammy's wife, Kari. And we become friends, and then it turned into Kirk Hammett with Metallica, and then I get a text from a friend. He said, "Hey, Chris, I'm in the pub in England, and sitting beside me is Robert Plant, and he's reading your book."
No way.
Yeah, and
That's crazy.
He sent you a happy birthday, and the same 2 days later, I get a call from Fred Durst, Limp Bizkit.
Oh yeah, well he's super into UFOs.
I love
I think
Fred.
he has a UFO podcast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've been on his podcast.
Cool.
So anyhow, it just all poured out, and it manifested. I didn't
You notice, like, maybe that's why I'm not gonna say that.
do it. I didn't seek these people out. They called me, and now that's Sammy told me that the song "Love Walks In." He don't even know where the words came from. Just came out of him, and this song is like you have to read the lyrics on it. Yeah.
Let's go.
Well, I didn't even. I mean, it's crazy how much music is influenced by this stuff. Like, I think Paul McCartney, one of the Beatles had a dream about a flaming pie,
Right.
and that was how the Beatles name came about somehow.
I didn't know that.
It was going to be spelled differently,
Wow.
Beatles, and then it moved into BATLES after this flaming pie came down in this dream or something.
I didn't-
And so, yeah, you have a lot of these
Damn.
sort of stories. That's amazing.
That's crazy.
Do you think that, you know, because we often think of, like, you know, the aerospace world that's interested in a lot of what you're doing is very kind of nuts and bolts focused, not
Right.
they don't care about, you know, downloads or experiences or whatever. Do you feel like they really do? They are really interested.
Champ, I don't know, man. I don't really know. Can't really say.
In the phenomenon, and they are learning from it as much as they are just, you know, writing equations on chalkboards.
1,000,000%. In fact, in the last year, I've seen, or 2 years, I've seen a huge increase in the scientists, mainstream scientists that, you know, forever, like Diana, she was the first PhD that would even talk about this, right?
Damn.
And back then, if you even said this out loud, people would laugh and walk away. Nobody would talk. But now,
People are listening.
there's over 200 mainstream scientists right now. That was the word I was told by Dr. Estevez, Anna Brady Estevez.
Oh yeah, she's
that-
been on the podcast. We're still coming out with something cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she,
American Deep Tech.
she's told me that there's at least 200 scientists that want to start working on this thing.
It's fascinating.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
And it almost feels like at times the scientists are being coordinated on a higher level.
Yeah.
And this gets into like the three body problem, or, you know, science fiction novels like that, where, you know, the way that the phenomena speaks to us is through scientific discoveries, innovation, through serendipitous meetings between scientists. And I'm sure it's the same thing with art and other creation.
Big time into the creativity world, artists of all kinds. In other words, I don't mean to interrupt, but if I had to say, of all the people that call me, that the majority of these experiencers, a good majority of them, will be artists that paint, that make music, that act. They're a different type of people. And
Damn.
creative people. And for some reason, they're the
Creative
ones that have a lot of this experience and have been for years.
Makes sense that they'd be tapped in. I think it's
Like artists, you know, because like they create something out of nothing and can visualize. So they probably want those type of people that can visualize shit before it even happens, right? Makes sense.
more interesting in a sense that somebody like, you know, I've spoken to Hal Puthoff about this, and he goes, I always follow the synchronicities, and when they stop, I know I'm on the wrong path, or whatever. And it's like, this guy
Wait,
is
what?
follow the synchronicities, and when they stop, I know I'm on the wrong path.
Oh,
or whatever. And it's like,
that's
I
deep.
always
That's
follow the synchronicities, and when they stop, I know I'm on the wrong path.
that's deep right there, because you always get these things, these ideas, right? But then you start working on them and then they don't fall through. So it's like, that's what he's talking about, you know? Keep following the path that you think is correct until it just doesn't seem like it's the right path, and then start seeing what changes and where your path is really gonna go. Where I always tell people, everything has a piece to the puzzle for the, you know, great picture, you know?
Yeah.
Whatever. And it's like, this guy is a very serious scientist who's popping up not only in areas of quote unquote UFO science, but in, you know, prosaically very interesting science.
Right.
So
pretty serious guy. All of it.
Yeah. And we were talking outside. It sounds like you're in touch with some Lockheed guys too.
Ooh.
Yeah.
What's the deal there?
Some Lockheed.
Well, I
head,
have
huh?
friends
Some
everywhere.
Lockheed? Martin?
There's no shortage of people from NASA, from Lockheed, from 3M, from.
Damn,
from,
that's crazy that 3M is like hella involved into, like, we don't even, they make tape, but like, you know, the aliens brought us tape, yo.
all over these scientists, but I happen to have a friend that is a materials scientist that works with this material, and he kind of stays pretty close to me, following me about, and we travel together, and we study together, and
Damn.
doing a lot of things right now.
Look at his smile. Look at his smile. You see that smile right there? That smile's like, we on to some shit right now, baby. We on to something right now. We just can't really, you know what I mean? You know, we can't really say nothing about it right now, but we really on to some things right now, all right? Some.
Hey, yo, bad play. Sure, watch out for fake, cause this shit that we sell is illegal. Hey, yo, bad play. Sure, watch out for fake, cause this shit that we sell is illegal. Hey, yo, bad play. Sure, watch out for fake, cause this shit that we sell is illegal. Hey, yo, bad play. Sure, watch out for fake, cause this shit that we sell is illegal.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Who's that?
I can't tell you.
Does he work at a big aerospace corporation, or
He doing something.
Hey, yo, bad play. Sure, watch out for fake, cause this shit that we sell is illegal.
You'll
Look at that
see
smile.
him one day at, he lives in Silicon Valley, but you'll see him one day, he'll be in a skiff somewhere under an airport, or he'll be
For real.
in, at NASA,
okay?
or
Hell yeah, Piff.
he's somewhere in amongst all that. Yeah,
Fascinating.
yeah.
It's so interesting.
He's educated me a lot on this metal and how it acts, and how it acts differently in zero gravity than it does on ground level.
How does the metal act differently in zero gravity?
It's
In zero gravity, that's what the guy was talking about, that it was tricky under vacuum, right? Like, that's what they meant as zero gravity.
it has a way of let's just say the words I heard. This metal acts much like an animal.
All right, so we got a metal, and he said that it acts like an animal. All right, let's just follow here.
In that it is always seeking for energy and
It
seeking
moves.
to connect. And
Connects with people. Something
how
like
I got
a
this pin
Wi-Fi.
was being off planet.
Ooh. The show started with, where did you get that pen? Y'all catch that? The show started, the first words were with, where did you get that pen? See, that's what I'm talking about. The breadcrumbs are right in front of your face, bruh. Right in front of your face. Just gotta read them. The breadcrumbs are right in front of your face. The metals follow the people. They connect with the people. How do we know? How don't we know that pin right there is part of that metal, right? And it's connected to them right now. You know what I mean? I mean, you can call me crazy. Hey, it's up to you to, you know what I mean? Picture's right there in front of you, homie.
And being tested.
Let's go
Pin
back.
was seeking to connect.
Oh, he even grabbed it too. He even grabbed this pen, bruh.
And how I got this pin was being off planet and being tested by that metal, knowing that it bonded to me.
See what I mean?
So that's why this phenomenon is always around.
I told you.
It's trying to reconnect all the time.
I told you.
And because you went up on a craft,
Yeah.
you're somehow connected
told
with
you.
the metal.
Yeah.
How do you think you're connected with it?
Into the DNA is all I know. It's a frequency. I think our
Holy
DNA is
shit,
transmitted
yo.
a frequency, which is. I've
And
seen
you know what? That's the crazy part, because it's like everybody that comes down, right? Everybody that comes down after an abduction and shit, they always get like a little implant. That little implant is what, not at like a GPS or nothing in a way like that. They can always find you, right? They're not GPSing you. You know what I mean? They know exactly where you're at. But that right there is what's binding with you, you know, binding with you and maybe sending information or whatever it's doing, but it's binding with you.
the papers on it and a radar type frequency. So it's pinging and it's receiving, sending and receiving.
Well, maybe it is got GPS on you.
So it's always once it connects with you on that level, and I'm being very careful not to say a whole lot here, but I get a phone call if I say too much, right? But,
Ooh. He said you gonna get a phone call if you say too much.
So yeah.
But they're clearly trying to, because they know you have a public presence. They know
Yeah.
you're going to get asked about this stuff.
Yeah.
So they want to get it out somewhat.
Right.
Would be my guess.
Right.
You know.
Say what?
There's a scientist named Konstantin Mile.
And that's my thing. Today's world, the only people that you can really believe is those type of people, right? The people that are telling you, I can't tell you everything. This is only the things that I'm allowed to tell you. If I tell you anymore, I'm going to get that phone call. He literally said that. Not these so-called whistleblowers that just claim all these wildish, outlandish. I mean, I'm not saying it's a lie, right? But you notice the people who are allowed to say this stuff go to Congress, write letters to whoever they write letters to. Another person on a desk receives the letter, gives it to the higher authority. It goes through so many chains of commands to just get that approved for this guy to be sitting on this podcast, releasing this. I mean, mind-blowing information to just us, right? Maybe you guys already know this and more, but I don't, right? But this is just the tip of the iceberg. You know what I mean? That's why I love this stuff, because we're barely. It's like a child, you know, and you have a daughter, and you're barely gonna say, all right, baby, you can start going out now. Like, I trust you. You know, I know you can handle this. I know you're not gonna, you know, go out there and wild out, freak out or whatever. You're responsible to know what the real world is like, right? Like, that's crazy, yo. That's crazy. You know, we're like 16-year-olds ready to get released into the real world with the knowledge. Like, whoa. And some people already got this, like back in the 20s, like Townsend Brown, you know, he went outside and boom, got all this information. Was like, you know, and then this guy,
he's in the Black Forest in Germany, and he talks about scalar physics and its relationship with DNA, specifically like DNA resonance with these exotic electromagnetic waves.
That's my name, baby. That's my name. Make sure you hit that like button.
Suicide, old brown rover look like Pokemon. Everybody know me in the club, cause they smoking me.
That's right, baby. What'd he say?
DNA specific. Scalar physics and its relationship with DNA, specifically like DNA resonance with these exotic
This is your man 702 Exotic. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you want to watch another video like this.
electromagnetic waves that exist in the scalar field, which, if you think about it, if we are getting any sort of messages via our DNA, a transverse Hertzian, a classic electromagnetic wave, doesn't really make sense because it decays at 1 over r squared. So if you're in a Faraday chamber, or you're, you know, kind of in some remote place or whatever, the decay function on a normal electromagnetic wave would be too stark for you to really receive a lot of information ongoing.
Right.
But if you have some of these more exotic waves that travel at
That's my name, baby.
This is your man 702 Exotic. Make sure you hit that
1 over r, which a lot of these kind of deeper aerospace scientists believe possibly exist, maybe your body would be able to download and encode a lot more information. And they say they think that this
Wow, that's the key right there, yo.
1 over R, which a lot of these kind of deeper aerospace scientists believe possibly exist. Maybe your body would be able to download and encode a lot more information. And they say they think that the sun is a scalar wave generator, which a lot of these kind of deeper aerospace scientists believe possibly exist. Maybe your body would be able to exist. But if you have some of these more exotic waves that travel at 1 over R, which a lot of these kind of deeper aerospace scientists believe possibly exist, maybe your body would be able to download and encode a lot more information. And they say they think that the sun is a scalar wave generator. So maybe the sun is, constantly spurring evolution. And Tim Taylor talks about in Diana's book, American Cosmic, that his protocols are around,
Hey, that's why the Liver King was out there suntanning his balls, huh? That fool said he was downloading information.
Being in the sunlight, looking at the sun.
Well, that's it. And in fact, I read the paper on it 15 years ago, 13 years ago. And
so then how is Elon Musk so smart? That fool don't get no sun.
Thought is that the sun, the way it shines at an angle on the earth, it creates the green color spectrum, which is the center of the color spectrum, right? And in that, our the sun is affecting what's called ADT, which is the hemoglobin in your blood and the chlorophyll in plants. So when it hits that, it starts this energy and it starts creating life. And so the sun is telling everything how to be a pear, how to be a grass, how to be a tree, how to be
so that's
me or you.
Was making
so
the
all
DNA?
The information of life is coming from that green light, from what they're saying. It's just constantly sending all information, all encoding to every living thing, birds. That's where it comes from.
Yeah. It's really amazing. I mean, there's this idea of the anthropic principle, which is, why is Earth, this perfect kind of homeostatic, like just place that fosters life? And there are, a couple of different explanations for it. One is like we've tried a million different iterations. This is the Goldilocks zone. We just got really lucky or whatever to live in the one where it's perfect. And then there's another one, which is this has been sort of created or simulated, for life. And if you think about the Earth's magnetosphere, the way it blocks cosmic radiation, but allows just enough cosmic radiation to allow for the perfect amount of natural selection, to allow for, real evolution. But then the magnetosphere of the Earth itself, like literally the Schumann resonance, fosters human and animal morphology in this sort of perfect way. If you put a frog embryo in a Faraday chamber where that's blocked, it doesn't grow normally. So it's this these perfect sort of circumstances.
So one thing we figured out this past year, I was on, John Alexander called me 2 or 3 times. Chris, nobody got it.
Yeah.
I was on this Beyond Skinwalker show with Brandon Fugel, right? So we were at the Monroe Institute. And they took me in the basement of the lab and put me in a Faraday cage. And it's silent. It's walls like this thick with, I'm in the basement of the lab in basically a coffin is what it looked like. With ceilings are copper and the walls are copper, so no electromagnetism can get in there. And so they had all these cameras outside pointing up at the sky. And I'm in this thing, and they have Dr. Thompson from New York. Neuro PhD in neuroscience, was monitoring me, and he said if you sense a UFO over the complex, just point to the ceiling. Every time I pointed, they were filming something above the building.
Oh, that was that guy.
And from that point on, John and a whole lot of other scientists says this proves it's consciousness.
Holy shit.
It's not electromagnetic, it's consciousness.
It's consciousness, yo. So you can tap in with them just with
It's
your mind.
instantaneous. It's our thoughts, which is what's creating everything.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yo. Hey, I knew this, but it just blows my mind to get it like proven in your face. Like, here it is right here, like proven. You know what I mean? This is
It's our thoughts, which is what's creating everything. It's not
so these beings that are like, I don't know, eons ahead of us, right? Can be like right here, just tapped in. You know? And that's what I mean. But I mean, I'm not saying everybody can do it. No, well, our minds can do everything we want, right? Anything, well, if you put your mind to it. And I believe in that. With that being said, it's not gonna happen to everybody, right? It's these special people here that have the connection with them. Like I say, they got the plugs. You know, they got the alien plugs, literally. So when you're plugged in with them, like you could just channel them out, you know?
electromagnetic is consciousness.
So it's not electrical magnetic where you can just hit a button, sends a signal. Nah, you're mentally sending a signal.
So it's instantaneous. It's our thoughts, which is what's creating everything.
In an instant, just like boom. Oh, and Jesse Michaels and everybody else, I believe, I think this was on Joe Rogan, but a very reputable person said that we do have things that are, what do you say, hundreds of thousands faster than the speed of light, bro. Like, what? We have a craft right now that goes thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, I believe, but I'm gonna go with thousands just to keep it safe. Thousands faster than the speed of light. Let that sink in. Like, bro, we laws of physics says nothing is faster than the speed of light. You gonna look that up and it's gonna tell you nothing's faster than the speed of light. Nah, they got objects, they got things that go faster, thousands faster, thousands of times faster than the speed of light. This is new information we're getting from reputable people, not talking about these so-called whistleblowers, TikTokers, or whatever you listen to. Like, we're listening to real people who really work on this, man, day in and day out. While we out here going to McDonald's, they're in the lab, bruh, doing something illegal. You know what I mean? They're doing something illegal.
Hey, yo, bad play. Sure, watch out for fake, 'cause this shit that we sell is illegal.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, if you think of, we have phonons, which are sort of, quantum vibration packets, and then you have photons, which are quantum light packets.
Right.
Maybe at some point we'll figure out quantum thought packets or something.
Well, that's it. It's all thought. It's just how it works with me. I don't have to go out and speak to get this thing to come. I just think about it.
Jesse's like, can you do it right now? Let me see you do it right now, champ. Can you do it right now for the show?
So it knows our thoughts completely, and in advance of what you're gonna think. You can't fool it.
Wow.
At all. There's no way.
Wow.
This episode is sponsored by True Classic. This is one of my favorite shirts. It kind of works for every occasion. I honestly didn't think I cared about t-shirts until I realized how many of them I don't wear. They end up just accumulating in your closet. Most of them look fine on a hanger. Then you put them on and something's off. They're too boxy, they're too stiff, they're too long, or they just kind of hang weird. That's the problem True Classic set out to fix. They focus on the fit first, which in my opinion is the most important thing when it comes to a shirt. Shirts that sit right on your shoulders and chest, relax where they should, and don't feel like you're wearing cardboard. The material is also extremely soft, breathable, and flexible. You put one on and you don't think about it again, which is kind of the goal. I've been wearing their shirts for a while now, and I always reach for them when I know I just want a standard quality shirt. When I don't want to think about what I'm wearing, but I know I'll be dressed appropriately for any occasion. You don't look overly formal. You don't look disheveled.
Gotta give the homie
you
the
look
sponsor,
just
you know what I
right.
mean? He let
They
me use the
started with
video,
men's
so.
basics, but
you know
now
what I
they
mean?
make clothes for women and kids too. Same focus on comfort and fit. And they keep the prices extremely reasonable
Anybody wanna come
instead
up,
of
man?
charging you for a logo
Anybody
and a
wanna
story.
come up?
This company
Got the
isn't about
email up
trends
there.
or fashion cycles. It's about
Pinned
having
to
a
the very
consistent
top.
standard of quality and a few pieces you can always go to
Let me
that
know,
won't
let
let
me
you
know, let me
down.
know.
So if you want to get some super high quality shirts, go to trueclassic.com/Jesse to refresh your wardrobe for 2026. You can also find them at Amazon, Target, Costco, and Sam's Club. Thank you to True Classic for sponsoring today's episode.
I want to go where other people haven't gone in interviews with you.
Right.
Do you feel like, you know, when you read like, and this is going to sound like a crazy question, but like when you read the book of Acts and, you know, learn about Jesus, do you feel like he is a state of being that others can get to through kind of, you know, really spiritual, profound kind of experiences, what Diana Pasulka
Hell yeah,
calls
we'll
in
be
her
here.
book hierophanies,
Right.
revelations. And again, this is not to make him out to be this exclusive, untouchable, you know, being or state, but like maybe some people can reach this state. Do you feel like maybe you're in that sort of Christ consciousness, and that allows you to have this healing
100%.
effect on people?
Yeah.
Damn, yo, that's crazy what he's saying right now.
Yeah, 100%. And you know, the way I was born and raised a Baptist and married a Pentecostal holiness girl, and you know, was very deep into the church and loved it. And my wife still goes. She was at church yesterday and for the day before Sunday. But the way, you know, when Jesus came, he wasn't a Christian. He was just saying the kingdom of heaven is within you. You can talk to God yourself, and you don't need to pay anybody to have that.
You know, I tell people that today is crazy because like my peoples and everybody be like, you know, you gotta come to church, you gotta come to this. I'm like, look, man, I'm more connected to God than a lot of people are. I'm like, you don't even know. I'm like, God is with me every day. I'm like, I ain't gotta go to church to say hello to him. I'm like, he knows I'm busy. I'm out here very busy. And at the same time, we got God with us inside of us all the time.
And I don't think they liked him saying that a whole lot, and his life was cut short because of that.
Well, that's one of my favorite lines. It's in an apocryphal, you know, the Gospel of Thomas, but it's
They liked him saying that you don't need to pay anybody to have that. And I don't think they liked him saying that a whole lot, and his life was cut short because of that.
Well, that's one of my favorite lines. It's in an apocryphal, you know, the Gospel of Thomas, but it's, you know, if you look to the sea, the fish will precede you. If you look to the
Right.
sky, the birds will precede you. The kingdom
Right.
of heaven is inside of you
Exactly.
and all around you.
Yep.
And, you know, and then you'll have hardcore biblical scholars say, oh, that was written 150 years later. And, you know,
Doesn't matter. That's the words Jesus used. The kingdom of heaven is within you. That
Yeah.
spark, that divine spark. And you can,
how do you, because like, I feel like my worldview and ontology in some ways matches a lot of yours and what you say. And then I think there are a lot of people out there who are like, who is this guy saying that he sees orbs and, you know, that's a 747 or a satellite or whatever. What do you say to those people?
You know, I expect that. I've learned until you see it, experience it, you're just uninformed. You know, it's real. It's 100% real. And I have shared it with groups as large as 1,000 at one time.
Damn.
With a PA and the most liberal UFO group, you know, I've ever been to was Contact in the Desert this past summer, right? And here I am being drugged by the hand all day. You need to be in this room at this time, this room at that time. Hadn't eaten all day, hadn't been to the bathroom, and it's like 7 o'clock at night, and I'm finally, and I deal with rheumatoid, so my energy levels in the evening are low. My wife comes in, or the my assistant comes in. He says, "Oh, you got a Skywatch at 9 o'clock." It was 8 then. I'm like, "Oh my God, I forgot all about that." Huge pressure. It's cloudy. It's raining in Palm Springs. It never rains in Palm Springs, right? It's sprinkling. And they said there's a big group sitting outside waiting on you. So I told my wife, I said, take me somewhere to where nobody can see me, because if they see me, there was always 50 people in line, right? So she took me over to a little seating area where it was dark, and I lay back. I looked up at the sky and I said, Lord, I need help. I'm stressed. Tonight it's raining. There's 1,000 people out there wanting to see something. And suddenly, when I said that, my wife sat beside me. I heard this telepathic voice say, don't worry about the rain. It'll just get more interesting. And then I saw these 3 orange orbs come down under the clouds. And this digit, it said 9:45. Just flashed right up. I said, okay, there'll be 3 orange orbs at 9:45. So I got up, I walked over to the center of 1,000 people. They're in a big circle, and I'm in a 20-foot circle that they kept that where I could walk around in it with a microphone. And so I told the whole group an hour in advance. I said at 9:45, there'll be 3 orange orbs that appear underneath the clouds. And exactly at 9:45 it happened.
Whoa. Damn. Do you have video of that?
Yeah.
Wow.
And you can hear me on the microphone. It's all recorded, predicting it an hour in advance. But I didn't predict it. I saw it. It shared it with me.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so fascinating. It's like the Fatima prophecy, but compressed and at a UFO conference.
But you know what I did? I'm at a UFO conference, and there, some of them's got tinfoil hats on, and they have all these Galactic Federation. Well, it doesn't compute with me, right? So I basically held a little church at the most liberal thing. Not church, but I said, look, we're just going to say a little prayer here. This is how it works for me. There is no summoning. All this thing you hear about summoning these things, if they're having negative experiences, whoever's doing this, well, that's why. Because you're open to anything coming. But I always use a little prayer. And so I just told him, I said, I believe that the Holy Spirit
little prayer.
is this beautiful lady that gave me this information, and I'm just going to ask her right now to share her presence with us. And that's the only thing I said.
What do you think of, because it seems like you're coming at this from a very spiritual perspective. There are rumors that the legacy UFO program itself uses protocols to attract UFOs to come in, sometimes use directed energy weapons against them, get them to land psionically through what they call psionic assets. So that would be finding somebody maybe similarly tapped in as you are, but who's sort of not maybe come about it in the more kind of earnest spiritual way through life experience that you did.
Right.
Maybe they just have some ability, or maybe they've been given a protocol or something. What are psionic assets?
When we look at collecting data, one of the areas that we look to collect data is through a psionic asset, which is an individual who's trained in remote viewing.
Wait, that's the guy who carried that object out the helicopter, right? So he carried an object out the helicopter, and that object, he's just a military personnel, trained or whatever. He went to go retrieve this like an egg pearl colored thing, and when he retrieved it, this thing connected with him, changed his life, spiritually. Every time he talks about it, see his face, he's crying right now, like earlier in that interview.
Psychic abilities, telekinesis, that type of thing, which is basically through a number of different protocols can transition into a place where they are highly sensitive to their environment from the point of view of consciousness, through a consciousness field.
How do you feel about that? Attracting crafts to come down, trying to derive material from these crafts or get downloads from them, but for like defense, kind of military industrial complex purposes.
Well, I've been, I work in and around a lot of those people, and I've had a lot of proposals that, and you wouldn't believe, even proposals, if I could get it to come down, could they shoot at it? I'm like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen with me. You want to study it? What I see is wanting to communicate with us. You hear about all that, but I've not seen any of it. I haven't seen the results. So there's a lot of talk out there, but not a lot of data to show, right? Where I show the data. I take 1,000 people out or 500 out, and we get things that appear to have wings, orange glowing beings, as many as 20 at the time. Damn. Fly 25 feet over our head and appear out of thin air. Poof, come right over us, glowing. And
angels.
So it's very spiritual and sacred to me, and I would never. But as far as I heard some of the things on Age of Disclosure, and they were talking about negative parts of it. Orbs being negative. I've never experienced that ever in my whole 19 years of doing it. In fact, you talked about the Book of Acts when Saul was on the road to Damascus. What was it that appeared and blinded him?
What was it?
It was an orb.
Whoa.
Flashed him. Said it flashed around him. Blinded him.
Damn.
It was a ball of light. Same thing. And so, it's all in your thought process. If you're grounded with that humbleness and earnesty and you love, then you're going to get that. But if you put something out, if we want aliens, right? We create this in our brain. If we want aliens with ray guns, if you get enough of the population to think on that, that's probably what will manifest.
What do you think the orbs are? It's this sort of perennial question. Because I think a lot of people have these experiences. I think a lot, they'll meditate, they'll be deep in prayer, and they'll see something come up. I have an experience like that where I was doing holotropic breath work with a friend in Silver Lake, California, of all places. Like the last place you'd ever expect to see anything. And we saw 2 metallic orbs show up, and it doesn't feel coincidental that for him, I think it was his first time doing holotropic breath work, and that's supposed to get you into a state where your brain, I think, endogenously releases DMT, and you're in this kind of heightened spiritual state.
What do I think it is?
What do you think they are?
Well, I'm very careful to try not to label, because it's all speculation. You asked the question, what do you think? Well, I'm guessing, right? All of us are.
Sure.
And nobody's experienced it, I don't think, any more than I have. I see it just about every day of my life, and it comes in my house. Orbs appearing in my room, over my chairs, and flying through the house and stuff.
So you think you experience it more than anybody in the world?
I haven't seen anybody with the data I have. Show me the data, and then you know what I'm saying? But people are seeing it now, and I predicted that. In my book, you'll read where I wrote about a certain incident that was going to happen in the future, which was when Iran and Israel began to exchange missiles at one another. At that point is when these balls of light, these orbs, were going to start appearing and revealing themselves to the world. I wrote about that, and that was something I've talked about for 10, 12 years. And then look, last November.
The Bogota.
These drones, supposedly drones that show up, those aren't drones. They're orbs coming out of the sea, appearing, and they're saying, stop. They de-escalated, and they kind of settled. They started putting F-35s in Poland. All of a sudden, now there's orbs all over Europe.
So what do you think the orbs are?
warnings?
Based on the patterns that I've seen. I'm saying I'm guessing, right? But 19 years of research,
Disarming
and
them.
prayer, simple prayer.
They
that
disarm the
mindset.
missiles.
Don't have to say it verbally, just think it. Lends me to believe it's something connected to our thoughts, very caring, loving, and our beings. I can share a video with you of an orb with a lady standing beside me and another lady. I got one on each side. This one has cancer, stage 4 kidney cancer.
Jesus.
She's missing one kidney already.
Oh, damn.
Year and a half later, it metastasizes in her other kidney. She calls me. So she's worried about her. The chemo's not working. So she had a very poor chance of survival. So she calls me and comes to my house. This was in 2015, I guess, and 2013 maybe. And she brings her girlfriends, like 5 of them. So it's all of those, myself, my wife, and some of my children, and 3 Native Americans. They're outside. They just happen to show up at the same time, friends of mine. And so I got them to kind of do a spiritual song that they do for healing for her.
That's what the orbs look like.
All of a sudden
yo.
in the video, you'll see an orb appear. It comes zooming right up to me. And all of a sudden it flashes. And out of that comes a tall,
There it is right there.
tall glowing figure about 6 to 7 feet tall. And then it just kind of moves over out of the camera right in front of this lady. And then she goes to get her scan on Monday and has them on cancer.
What?
Yeah. And I have it on video. So
I would love to see that video.
I'll share it. And
What?
flashes. And out of that comes all of a sudden in the video, you'll see an orb appear for healing for her. All of a sudden in the video, you'll see an orb appear. They do for kind of do a spiritual song that they do for healing for her. All of a sudden in the video, you'll see an orb appear. It comes zooming right up to me. And all of a sudden it flashes. And out of that comes a tall glowing figure about 6. And out of that comes and all of a sudden it flashes. And out of that comes a tall glowing figure about 6 to 7 feet tall. And then it just kind of moves over out of the camera right in front of this lady. And then she goes to get her scan on Monday and has them on cancer.
What?
Yeah. And I have it on video. So
I would love to see that video.
I'll share it in a little bit with you.
That would be amazing. That's amazing.
So 19 years, I have more data about this and more than most people can imagine.
Would she ever go on record and talk about this?
Yeah, probably.
Wow. I'd love to speak with her.
Yeah.
This is so,
For
it's so
real.
amazing.
So this is
That's
why I always
crazy.
lend to the spiritual side.
Hmm.
You know, I believe that if there's what is an angel, it's a messenger. I don't know what it is. I know that it is to me, it's and it could be just a fractal of consciousness itself, which that word means God. In the end, it comes back to the creation or the creator, that mind. So maybe these lights are just fractals of that, but I don't know.
That's
Do
crazy.
you believe
yo.
Tim Taylor is a time traveler?
Well, I'm guessing, you know, people say that, but it's possible. It's very possible.
We were talking right before we were rolling about intersection points.
Right.
Points where maybe you can hop between timelines or
Right,
something.
exactly.
What does that mean to you?
Well, you know, it's just hard to wrap your head around. There's no words for that. The vocabulary for all this is just like very small. But
I said that it's you know we can't fathom the things that are going on, man. Like it's just our vocabulary. Our vocabulary is too small for what's really going on.
Yeah.
That's why even I'm gonna tell you why our vocabulary is so small that even when people come back, they can't explain it to you, y'all. Like you see it in their face, and they're like, all they can ever say is like, it's not what it seems. And they can't say it. They cannot say it. Think about that. Don't that sink in right there?
Yeah, I'll have to think on that one, what it means.
I was having a dream the other night about that, about timelines changing, shifting, and it was such a weird dream, but it was like, you know.
See what I mean? You saw that? When he went like that, he can't explain it. That's what I mean. Our vocabulary sucks.
And it was such a weird dream, but it was like, you know, it's like there's stories of, this is really random, but like Bill Murray, the actor,
right?
He'll walk around New York City and he'll like take a French fry from somebody, eat it, you know, in their restaurant or whatever. And, you know, he'll just like literally like off the street, and then they'll look at him and they'll be like, that's Bill Murray, like taking my fry or whatever. And then he'll look at them and he'll go, no one will ever believe you. And that's what a lot of the phenomenon feels like. It feels like self-concealing. You know, it's like I'm sure the perfect amount of the video that you described was cut off where open-minded people will believe it, and then some hyper-skeptic will not.
Right.
Then it's like there is always some little stigma left on the evidence that you do have that is fully debunkable. But it's always like this, like
that's the
A
phenomenon.
and not A.
That's the phenomenon.
It is. It's messing
and
with
it's
you.
designed, it's doing that because there are three kinds of people. Now, I've talked about this many times. There are three types.
Yes.
Probably more.
Okay.
But there are people that can see, right? That can see this. There are people that I can teach to see. And there are people that can never see. They'll never see it because they're skeptical. And when you're skeptical about this, you will.
All right, we're going back to Jesus, right? Even Jesus said, walk on water. But if you're skeptical, you ain't going to be able to do it. That's the same thing. I mean, I'm not telling you you can walk on water because, damn, bro, man, salute to the homie that can actually think he can walk on water. Yo, I swear to God, that fool might be over there walking on some water.
Never be in the club, ever. It will not let you in because it doesn't want to mess with your free will.
But skepticism is also good.
Because it doesn't want to mess with your free will.
That's very important. And they say that they don't want to. Okay, so it's almost like this. Check this out. You see a deer out there, right? And this deer is not like hurting. You know what I mean? He's not in danger. Just a random deer, right? You're in the woods. You're like, oh, damn, a deer, right? What happens if this deer like rolls up to you and just starts chilling with you? What are you going to do? You're going to start teaching this deer stuff, right? Maybe you might approach to him and be like, oh, damn, it's a deer, right? And that's what he's talking about. He's like, I don't want to mess with free will. They don't mess with free will like us. Like, if you're closed-minded, fine, I'm not going to mess with you. You know what I mean? You're good. Free will. That's like you see the deer is like, oh, damn, there's a human right there. Run. And then he runs away, right? So the deer ran away. He don't want to mess with you. And then they don't want to mess with you unless they're hunting. That's different, right? But that's what they mean, but they don't want to mess with free will, right? Because if they intervene with us when we don't want them to intervene, then that's them not wanting. That's messing with us against our free will. But they said that they'll intervene with people who, you know, it's like God. God said the same thing. God says, I'm not going to worry about the people who don't worry about me. He said, you love me, you with me. You're not, you're not.
But skepticism is
it's cool. You can stay on that side.
Also good.
But some skeptics can come seers, right?
Sure.
But there are some that can never. Their brains are wired, to where it's a block.
You do need some filtering mechanism. You need something in your brain being like, that feels wrong or false.
Right,
You
right,
know, what's the phrase? You know, your mind can be so open, your brain can fall out. Or,
Yeah, right.
You know? So, how do you view that? Because discernment seems like an important, you know, part of wading your way through this topic.
20 years of it, 19 years of me when it first happened. All I knew is that I was afraid when I was looking at it in the broad daylight. It came out of the sky in daytime. It wasn't a dream, and it wasn't at night. It was in the broad daylight. And they came and they took me. So that programmed me in a way there was never doubting, ever doubting.
Describe this whole experience. So it was just broad daylight, and they came and took you. Who's they? And,
Well, they, whoever they are.
Yeah.
And this is in my book, UFO of God, by the way. I haven't,
Check it out.
I haven't plugged it yet.
I gotta go see that. I'm reading that.
It was 19 years ago on January the 8th of. It was, and this is in my
You gotta
book,
put that in there.
UFO.
Yes, sir.
Of God, by the way.
Check it out.
I haven't plugged it yet, but it was 19 years ago on January the 8th of 2007. Will be 19 years. I was down and out and lost everything. Lost my home, my income.
Damn.
I had too many houses on the market. I was building 100 homes a year and had been for 19, 20 years. And the World Trade Center thing happened, and then the housing bubble bust. And so I found myself in a place where.
That's crazy because, like, a lot of people say, well, why did the World Trade Center be done by a president, right? Well, you said it right there. That was the cause of the World Trade. Why would knocking 2 buildings down cause a fucking global economy collapse, right? Like, but it did. So, I don't know.
Where I was living in a $1 million home on the golf course, and now I'm in a mobile home with no income, and I'm having to apply for free lunch for my kids. That's how bad it got. Income
Wait a minute,
on the
wait a
golf
minute,
course,
wait,
and
wait.
now I'm in a mobile
Wait
living in a $1 million home on the golf course, and now I'm in a mobile home with no income.
I mean, damn, bro, you fucked off a whole $1 million and shit. And you couldn't get it together just to keep a little bit? Yeah, I think I would have.
And I'm having to apply for free lunch for my kids. That's how bad it got. And so I'm crying out to God, walking along. I had gone fishing at the river with my son and 3 other guys, and they wanted to fish. And so I walked away. They were sitting on the bank of the Cape River River, and I walked up the way we came in. We were down in the bottom. You know, you cross a big cornfield, and then you go down in the river bottom. So about a quarter mile down in the bottom is where they were sitting on the bank. And I told them I'm going to walk up to the field and look for deer or whatever, just wildlife. Not telling them how depressed I was. And
Damn, I was just talking about some deer. I ain't even, I swear to Jesus, I haven't watched this. Yo, that's crazy.
Where I was, I mean, I was struggling bad. Sick with Crohn's disease. Had it 18 years, suffering with it. And anyhow, I walk up to that field, and it was just about...
Bro, he better not say a deer walked up to him.
10 after 5 when I started up that way. Took about 5 minutes to walk, maybe 8. And when I got to the top of that hill, there they were, 2 of these big balls of fire, like
For real.
flaming...
For real, Piff.
40-foot round, red, orange, glowing balls of fire, and the fire is going around it, and these little tips were shooting off of it, flames. And there were 2 of them, side by side, very low down, probably a couple 100 feet above the trees and about 300 yards away. And I'm at the back of the field, and they're up at the road, the highway. You know, that's where they were. And I'm sitting there looking at them, scared to death, First, I was mesmerized, like, what in the
It
world?
was a deer, bro.
I'm a commercial pilot, still have my tickets. And so I knew right away what we were looking at wasn't anything Fort Bragg or any military anybody had. And so the chill came over me. It's like, oh my God, what am I looking at? So my mind went from amazement to fear.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Salute, champ. Hit that like button.
Suddenly. And then, I guess 5-10 minutes sitting there watching it, I got so afraid I wanted to run. So I turned my body and pointed down the hill to go run down to where my son was on the bank of the river. And I had to look back one more time. So I turned to look back before I went to run. And when I did, a third one above me was invisible. It was not visible. It just appeared and shot right straight down in front of me. 5:15, 5:30 in the evening in January. It's not dark. 4 hours later, I come walking back to the river where they were. And my son was missing. He wasn't there. He had gotten lost looking for me on foot. I couldn't compute any of that. How I had been gone for 20 minutes is all I could think. And they were fussing at me. Where have you been? We've been looking you all night. And it took me a long time to reconcile that. And then my Crohn's was gone. I had no more sickness. And if anybody has Crohn's knows how bad that is. It's the worst thing. You know, you're in the restroom 10 times a day. I was at 20 times a day at that point.
My boss, my boss had that one time, and it was hella sad because I'm outside waiting for him. It's like a construction, and he's a porta potty. He's an older guy too, hella smart electrician, master electrician, been doing it for 100 years, right? And poor dude, he was in there, man. And you can hear him like trying to like get it out, man. It was hard.
So I'm suffering with sickness.
Like just trying to pee, you know?
And suffering mentally and depressed and finding all of it. I'm at the very bottom crying out, Lord, help me. What do I do?
You're living in a relatively small town in North Carolina where you were...
Yo, I lived in a small-ass town in North Carolina, yo. Hella small. Tiny. It was hella tiny. By Fayetteville, too. Shout out to North Carolina.
You know, very successful and known by all your community members, and you were at the depths of kind of despair, and I'm sure feeling like a pariah or something among your community.
Oh, yeah. Well, I came back excited to tell it. And that's when basically the next 5 years of darkness I talk about in my book started. And it was the pitchforks came out, the holy water came out.
Yeah.
And the social services came to my house trying to remove me from the house.
But real quick, so you said that you thought it was 20 minutes had gone by.
It was 4 hours.
It was 4 hours. And do you remember what you had experienced? Did you recover the memories?
I recovered quite a bit of them.
How'd you recover them?
Time and through hypnosis and a doctor
piece
from
in the back of
Harvard
my
helping
throat.
me. And then you got to wonder, is it all real? But I can
Cheech and
tell
Chonged
you,
it.
they talk telepathically. And
Who's
they-
the doctor?
What'd he say?
Physicist and a doctor from Harvard helping me. And then you got to wonder, is it all real? But I can tell you, they talk telepathically. And
Who's
they-
the doctor from Harvard?
Dr. Michael O'Connell was
Okay.
his name.
And is he
He's
done
dead.
this with other experience?
Yeah, he was trained by John Mack.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I didn't know there was a doctor at Harvard currently who was trained by. So John Mack was the head of the Harvard side. I didn't know doctor from Harvard.
Dr. Michael O'Connell.
Wait.
It was 4 hours.
It was 4 hours. And
Yeah.
do you remember you
Moved me from the house.
But real quick,
Yeah.
so you said that you thought it was 20 minutes had gone by.
It was 4 hours.
It was 4 hours. And do you remember what you had experienced? Did you recover the memory?
I recovered quite a bit of them.
How'd you recover them?
Time and through hypnosis and a doctor from Harvard helping me. And then you got to wonder, is it all real? But I can tell you, they talk telepathically. And
Who's
they-
the doctor from Harvard?
Dr. Michael O'Connell was
Okay.
his name.
And is he He's done this with other experiencers.
Yeah, he was trained by John Mack.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I didn't know there was a doctor at Harvard currently who was trained by. So John Mack was the head of the Harvard psychiatry department.
Yeah.
Who saw a lot of experiencers, and originally he got into it because he was interested in missing time.
Right.
It's like all these people are coming with missing time, and then he had been childhood friends synchronistically with Bud Hopkins, who was very interested in experiencers, abductees. So he has an heir at Harvard. John Mack does. Michael O'Connell.
Well, he's dead now. He died.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
unfortunate. I was literally going to be like,
Yeah.
I want to interview.
Yeah, he was I love the guy. I mean, we bonded really close until he died. He lived in South Carolina, so I lived, an hour and a half from him, so we visited a lot.
Wow. I think another thing for people to understand, if they are skeptical of something coming out in a hypnotic regression, these experiences are so traumatic. They're so foreign to you when they happen.
Right.
If you look at any other extremely traumatizing experience just in the world,
right?
A woman who's, or somebody experiences child abuse or like something extremely,
Right.
serious, that just shatters your whole being, you will repress that memory.
Yeah.
And it will often have, you'll have fragments of it, you'll have shards of it, but it'll be like broken glass, and you'll need techniques like this at times to recover those memories. So this guy, Michael O'Connell, works with you.
Right.
And what do you end up recovering?
Well, what he did, I'll give you a short on what he did. He came and he started just dialogue, talking, and told me that he knew from his studies that they can tend to pack a lot of information in your mind, and it's locked away in there, and that if you were to remember it all at one time, it'd probably drive you crazy. So he, I can tell you, I had severe headaches. If I tried to think past that missing time, I would pass out. I did it over and over. When they would question me, I'd get to a point and I couldn't think anymore, and the headaches would come so bad, I would pass out.
There's a really great book by, my mind's just going to all these crazy places, but there's a book called Healing Back Pain by Paul Sarno. It's this amazing book that healed a lot of people's backs psychosomatically, because it talks about chronic pain as being adaptive from a psychosomatic perspective. And
Exactly right, because I broke my back on June 4th, 2017, right? Where I couldn't even walk. Like, at the 6 months, I could barely walk. You know what I mean? And I was on medication, and let me tell you, getting off the medication was the worst thing ever in my life, because I was on medication, Percocets, for a very long time, probably about 2 years. And getting off of them was wild, crazy. And when I got off them, it was the best thing ever. But I still have back issues. To this day, my back hurts like all the time. But like how you say, you cope with this shit. You learn to block that shit out, even though you know it hurts, bro. It's crazy. It's like mind over matter, bro. I've been dealing with back pain for years, bro, and it don't go away every day. But it's crazy because I don't even let it get to me. Like, even when the pain starts, bro, you mentally block that shit out, because I'm not taking no pills. I'll smoke or whatever, but I feel it. I feel it. Like, the second I feel my back, I just be like, it don't hurt, and it just goes away. Boom. Like, and that's mind over matter, because, like, the pain is there, bro. I can bump into a wall, boom. The first thing I feel, that the impact is in my back. And it's really, I feel it in my chest. It's really in my back, but I feel it in my chest. So, like, that's what I mean. Like I can do things when I'm training my kids or doing whatever. Boom, 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 boom. I feel every impact in my back. You know what I mean? That's why I feel it, and it's crazy. But I block all that out, and that's what he's talking about.
So maybe even
I want to read this book though. I never heard of that book too. They're dropping bangers, yo.
That's the case with your Crohn's disease that you were facing, where it is more adaptive to feel physical pain at times than to process emotional pain.
Right.
And so it would make sense that actually physical pain would be the blocker for something that was maybe more emotionally painful or transformative or something.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So So we started working together, and he would tell me we're going to program you.
Well, I messed up my back in a couple ways though, bro. in a couple ways. Man. First was the initial way that I broke my back, right? I remember I'm with my son. He's 18 now, but he was young. So thank God not a scratch happened to him. Thank God their kids are, they're flexible. But I get out of my garage. All I remember is opening my garage, and that's it. Waking up in the hospital, right? But what ended up happening was now after this took 6 months and a whole bunch of because it wouldn't leave me alone, so I had to go see the police tapes. I went down to the police station. I wanted to see what happened, right? So this is 6 to 8 months later. So I gathered up all the information, everything. So this is what happened. I step out of my garage, get in my car, pull out. Not even a mile down the road. It's like a mile and a half down the road. I guess I had a seizure behind the wheel, bro. And I wasn't even doing nothing at the time. No pills, just smoking. That's it, regular smoking. And I had a seizure at the wheel, and I locked up. And when I locked up, I hit the gas. Well, I was coming up to a gas, like a intersection, and they were at a red light. So thank God that they were already stopped. So I had a Charger at that time. It was a brand new Charger, bro. I've always had brand new cars, but that time I had the brand new Charger before anybody had the Charger, the fast one. And when I hit the gas, bro, it just peeled, took off, and it hit cars stationed that were in the middle, and it went in between two cars. And when it did that, it whip-tailed like this, and it came into incoming traffic. And then when the incoming traffic, I bumped them, I guess, a little bump, because I hit 15 cars, bro. So I bumped them, and it knocked me back into because I'm peeling. Remember, this is a fast car, so it was and it pulled back to the original guy I had almost hit and pulled him, pinned him, and then they're all stopped, so nobody's really moving. I'm just doing donuts in the parking lot, but I'm seizuring in the car, and I pinned them. I'm pinned right there. My car's burning donuts, and the guy that I had hit initially gets out of his vehicle, bro, goes into my vehicle, opens the door, and then fucking takes my foot off the gas and puts my car in park, bro. And he said while he did that, I was stiff as hell, still shaking, and my son was just watching everything going on. And then so police came and everything. My wife they got a hold of her, and I went to the hospital, man. I woke up in the hospital, and they ran brain scans and everything. You know what I mean? Everything was good, man. Nothing. They said it was just one of a time thing. Unfortunately, I had that seizure behind the wheel. Bro, my auntie, unfortunately, she suffers from hella seizures from she was a little girl, bro. She suffers hella seizures, bro. She'll start seizuring up hella. Now, because of weed, she smokes hella weed, so she's good now. But that shit hella helps her. If she don't, she'll start seizuring up. I seen that shit a bunch of times. But I only had that once ever in my whole life. But unfortunately, it was behind the wheel. So, yeah, man, that shit's crazy. Things happen, man. But we here now, champ. You know what I mean?
Where that all this information comes out little at a time, not too much, but you'll remember it all. That's what he said. Immediately when he did work with me, within days, I started having these nightmares and dreaming and speaking in my sleep and talking, and my wife and kids were videoing me in the bed. They'd hear me, saying all kinds of crazy things about my experience. But what it was like, Jesse, was like a virtual tour. In other words, they took me, the first thing I remembered was seeing Egypt. Why? Over the pyramids, looking over the pyramids and seeing the Sphinx. That's all I remember, that, and seeing this temple, Hathor's temple. And all the animals and the birds. It was just like this video that was playing in my brain about Egypt.
Damn.
And so I studied everything I could study about that. And I went to scholars like Dr. Gilbert and learned from Robert all kinds of sacred geometry. And
I didn't know you learned from Robert Gilbert.
yeah, he lived in Asheville, right close to me. So
Famous Rosicrucian
Yeah.
scholar.
yeah,
Interesting.
loved the guy.
Wow. Yeah, he very sad. He
Passed
was,
away.
I think, a nuclear chemist, and he just passed away from cancer
Yeah,
very
he
recently,
did,
like,
yeah.
like this year, I believe.
Yeah, this year. But a world of knowledge, and he helped me a lot, understanding the symbols I saw about Egypt. And then, 2019 comes along. I write about this in my book. I'm sick.
Yeah, man. You've been talking about them Tahoes, man. That's good they smoking, champ. Hell yeah.
With rheumatoid arthritis now, and I've been on chemo.
Oh yeah, that was my first time when I hurt my back, right? We're gonna fast forward for like hella years later. And at this time I'm in horse racing now. I got this horse. I have my own horse. And then but I'm working another because when you become in a group of horse, like I was in a circle, like it's called Los Hacendados. Like it's a group called, it's a crew. You know what I mean? It's a crew that has horses. So to be in a crew, you had to have a horse. So I have my horse, and then that's the only way I can work other people's horses, if they see you working your horse, and then all right, this guy know how to work horses. So I was on another horse, and then but this horse was like an old school horse, bro. Like it was like, very nice. Like that's what they call it, mansito. It's like a nice horse. It ain't all crazy. It's gonna just trip out. Nah, this horse was like very good. It was a good horse. So I put up my stirrups and everything, and I'm out there riding her and shit. And meanwhile, let me tell you, this is after the accident. I said that already. So I'm up there riding her, and then my stirrup falls, bro. So like when you're standing on the horse, it's not like riding a saddle. So, and when my stirrup fell, I didn't fall off the horse. But what happened was that when my stirrup fell, I grabbed the horse like this. I went over him, and then I'm grabbing him, but he's already going fast though. He's already going fast. So, but this horse is smart. Like I said, it's Mansito, so he was hella smart enough to like slow down gently, not just like stop at the dime and then knock me off, bro. He knew I was in danger and shit. And then so I'm grabbing this horse by the neck, bro, like this. And I'm like, ho. And then he is slowing down and shit. So I'm like, oh shit, he's slowing down. And I'm just grabbing him by the neck. And then, yeah, man, my stirrup fell. One of my stirrups, I got the stirrups right there too, but that's not the ones that fell. But it was off of that same stirrup off another saddle. Because the other saddle, because the stirrups are they're meant to fall off in case you fall off the horse. You don't get caught in the stirrup. The stirrup is meant to fall off. Like it's not meant to like be permanently attached onto your saddle. That's not a good thing. You don't want to permanently attach the stirrup to the saddle, not a racehorse saddle. It has to have like a hook, but the hook is like a hook, and it just has like this little hook. Well, that hook's bent down like that, so when I was on him, it just like slipped right out of there, and that's where my stirrup fell. And then so at that time, bro, I hella injured my back, bro. That was another time, and I was down for like about 2-3 months after that, and I was like hella. And then another time was when I was in the racehorse in the racehorse stalls prepping a horse, and then the horse bumped me like this into the wall, and he pinned me against the wall, and all he did was just like wow, like just crushed me, and that put me down for like another month, 2 months. And every time, I box, so it's like that should be putting me down, bro. Every time I go, if I'm gonna prepare for anything, I have to spar and stuff like that. And every time I go, and I just be getting hella hurt, bro. So it's just those are the few other times, you know what I mean?
Therapy for like 6-7 years. I'm down to 150 some pounds, walking on a cane, and now I'm migrating to a wheelchair. That's where I was.
Yeah, but as soon as we recover, bro, we back at it. I am recovered right now, so I'm just being lazy right now. But we training, but we still doing the little things that we do. But what time is it right now? Nah, we ain't running
in
today.
2019. Diana and Tim were in the Vatican archives in 2017, And I was supposed to go with them, but I couldn't. I was sick, and they were.
Oh, you were supposed to go on that trip.
Well, it could have been arranged. Yeah, it was all about me. The whole thing. When they went there, they had a ceremony in the Vatican.
It was supposed to be a ceremony for you.
Yeah, they had a ceremony. They put my picture in the picture of the Pope on the outside of the archives, and then they placed my photo between the books of Galileo and Copernicus.
Really?
Yeah, to be there forever.
No way.
Yeah,
That's
sure did.
crazy.
Do you have photos of this?
Yeah, I did.
Could you send that? Wow. This is amazing.
Yeah. So
and who was Tim Taylor prompting them to do this ceremony?
Hell yeah, man.
I
Back
think
issues,
Diana's
man.
connection
Back
to
issues.
the Vatican and
For real.
the lady I speak about. You know, I come in 2012 having an experience with this lady, this beautiful glowing lady that boy, that was something too, because that was at the end of 5 years, and
Yeah.
I was fighting the government, the social services for my sanity.
Yeah.
Um,
But real quick, so because you were describing your first experience that
Right.
O'Connell helped you get out, and so you're around the pyramids. You see the sacred geometry, which Dr. Robert Gilbert helps you kind of decode.
Right.
Did you decode anything? Did you notice any sort of messaging?
Yeah, I did. I started seeing likeness in the way they portray their deities is
Huh.
in the whole matrix of the thing. You know, it's like when Jesus was
Hold on, let me take this real quick.
born, it said an angel came and said, "Go to Egypt," right? Well, we don't realize that Egypt was controlled by Greece for 500 years before that, right? So, perfect fit for him to go there and to grow up there. And when you start seeing the similarities between the two, there's pretty much the same thing. And
The
there,
stories between who
yeah,
and who?
between the Trinity, Jesus and the
All right, we
Trinity,
back.
and then Ra and Horus and the whole thing. They have a triad there, right? But their deities are portrayed as animals and birds.
Wait. I'm missing
There are
things.
stories
I'm
between
missing
there,
things.
and
I had
when
to
you
take this
start
call.
seeing the similarities between the two, there's pretty much the same thing.
Wait,
and
wait,
the
Sorry,
way they
y'all. My
portray
bad.
their deities is
Okay.
in the whole matrix of the thing. You know, it's like when Jesus was born, it said an angel came and said, "Go to Egypt," right? Well, we don't realize that Egypt was controlled by Greece for 500 years before that, right? So, perfect fit.
Wait. So he's claiming the same thing like Jesus. So he's claiming he's Jesus in a way because he healed someone. Yo, this is this is wild, yo. What are they doing right now? Are they messing with us, yo? Is this guy one of those government pleasants, like the plant right behind him? You know what I mean? Please, Lord, please.
For him to go there and to grow up there, and when you start seeing the similarities between the two, there's pretty much the same thing. And
The
there
stories between who and who?
between the Trinity, Jesus and the Trinity, and then Ra and Horus and the whole thing. They have a triad there, right? But their deities are portrayed as animals.
Wait. He just said like Jesus, Horus. So he's saying he's the modern day
Animals and birds, forces of nature. This is what Dr. Gilbert spoke about. It's all about everything, nature and humanity. And so when then you read the story of Ezekiel and the wheel within the wheel, right? He walks between two of the cherubim, it says, and he walked between them. And there he met an angel, right? And what was it? It had faces of animals and only one part human. So it's not like grandma with wings and a beautiful robe, right? It's just these things are creatures, and it's always.
Did you see these creatures?
No, I've studied them.
Okay.
I saw the creatures. Yeah, I drew them.
Yeah.
When they were little glowing beings about this tall.
But those.
Well, I've studied them.
Okay.
I saw the creatures. Yes, they're with wings and a beautiful robe. Right. It's just these things are creatures, and it's always.
Did you see these creatures?
No, I've studied them.
Okay.
So he said no.
Okay.
I saw the creatures. Yeah, I
He saw the creatures.
drew them.
Yeah.
When they were little glowing beings about this tall.
But those seem more of the variety of the extraterrestrials or aliens people kind of experience.
Well, they
these
say
days.
that until you read Daniel chapter 10 when it talks about an angel that he saw.
Mm.
And when I described this little being, I said he looked like glass. He was so shiny, his whole body was glowing, like he had a suit on that was gleaming like glass.
Did you see this alien in the craft, or
I saw it standing from me to you from me.
and this was in like the woods
Yeah.
near your house?
Yeah. And I wrote about this, and
And he had a little triangle.
triangle on his
pendant,
chest. Yeah, funny. There's a triangle right there, right?
Oh, there you go. I was thinking that when you were
Yeah.
like, "Look at my little pendant," I was like, "Well, was that an homage to the triangle from the alien being?"
That was from NASA.
Hey,
And two,
he said,
that was from NASA.
Was that
that was
an homage
What do
to
you
the
mean? Like in Pineapple Express? What do you mean? I mean,
Triangle from the alien being.
That was from NASA. And two, I have multiple videos, and if we go sky watching at some point, you'll see
salute from Scotland, my man. Make sure you hit that like button.
the phenomena will always try to line up in a triangle or in threes.
Interesting. So it's
Yeah.
like maybe the
It's-
Trinity or something.
Yeah, it's telling us something, right? What is that? I don't know. It's all speculation. I'm learning.
What else did Robert Gilbert tell you? Because he did seem like a person who was very tapped into
Oh, yeah.
kind of deeper esoteric truths.
Yeah, a lot. I learned a lot from him. That helped me understand that this world is so far more complex. For example, he described pendulums. If you go to Egypt and you dig in the soil there, the most artifacts that they find under the ground in Egypt are pendulums.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Yeah, we go to Mexico to go dig, man. The little monos. Go dig the little monos, and then they come back with. Sometimes they got gold in the middle, and those little things could be worth a lot of money, but you don't want to break them because sometimes they don't have the gold in the middle. So, hey, shout out to my peoples, man. They got a bunch of them in the living room chilling, and I look at them and I'll be like, yo, this is ancient right here. Someone for real was holding this back in the day. I'll be tripping out, yo, like real ones.
That's the most frequent artifact.
That's the most frequent. They find millions of them. And so he explained to me what they knew and how the people that set Washington up, they did the same thing. Why they have an obelisk in Washington, why they have one in Central Park, why is there one in France and in England? And they went to Egypt and got those things and brought them back. And stood up.
I
and
bet
they
you
went
those
to Egypt
places.
in
I bet
Central
you
Park. Why
those places that he said. I bet you that makes the diamond. You know.
is there one in France and in England? And they went to Egypt and got those things and brought them back.
Damn.
And stood those stones up.
Well, if you look at Charles L'Enfant, you have all this kind of Freemasonic symbolism around DC, and that is definitely derived
Boom. There it is, boys.
from ancient Egypt. In fact, I've been inside of this like Freemasonic temple in DC, and by the way, I'm not a Freemason.
Right.
And I wouldn't be saying this if I was,
Right.
obviously.
Right.
But like it's just you might as well be in like an Egyptian temple or something. It's
Right.
all Egyptian symbology.
Yeah.
Damn.
And so you think there's like a link between
I think it's a big mystery, but there's a link some way or another.
Wow.
Yeah.
So interesting. And then the other connection for you with ancient Egypt is so you're around the pyramids and you see these symbols, and then you obviously encounter these beings. But later you encounter the lady.
Right.
And she describes herself as Hathor. Is that right?
Well, that was one name she used. She said she had many names. And she had been called many things throughout the world. In other words, Diana, Demeter, Isis, Hathor, Hera, the Virgin Mary, everything. She's had many names throughout history and by every culture. And the way she explained it to me helped me understand religion in a different way, how people conceive, like the Taoists or the Muslims or the Catholics or whoever. Only imagine God in their minds. We all do. We imagine that. And it turns into an ugly thing because religions tend to think they have the skivvy on God, and therefore we're going to go to war with you because you don't believe like us. That's the problem that has to stop. This is the message she told me, that she had many names throughout history and that God is God. And we don't know what we think we know, and we need to sit back and reanalyze and, be good children, or we're going off the cliff.
And you know what's crazy, Brian? That's how they used to. If you see some of the temples that were built, they used to get the rocks, right? And if you look, they have like this marshmallow effect, right, to them. So that tells you right there that they were somehow manipulating the actual stones that they were. Not only were those stones damn near precise already, but they were like marshmallow them to what you're talking about,
That's kind of the thing she told me. And she told me about the missiles. That was in 2012. But there was so much there. I came out of in 2012 telling it like right away what that she explained to me.
And you received a prophecy about 2026 as well, right?
Yeah.
What was that?
Well, she said, and I had no idea what it meant, still don't, other than she said that when the star of Regulus, which is a blue star, when it appears red on the horizon at the dawn, before the sun comes up, and the gaze of the Sphinx. In other words, I saw it in a vision, the whole thing. You can see the Sphinx facing east, and this thing's just cresting the top. She said, when that happens, that will be a sign that ushers in a new knowledge for humanity. So does that mean the return of Jesus or the return of Christ consciousness? It could. And I think that's possible, but it marks a sign, she said, where the darkness would be exposed and the truth would be revealed. So I think we're going to learn something over the next couple of years that, and this was 12 years ago I said this, 13 years ago, 2012.
Yeah.
Right? And how when these missiles started flying and the orbs started appearing, that got a lot of attention on me real quick.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm caught between two minds. One is, I think even in the book of Matthew, it's something like nobody knows
today
the apocalypse other than God.
Right.
Paraphrasing, but yeah, nobody knows the day.
Right.
And then on the other hand, it does feel like just this gestalt sense of like things are getting weirder.
Yep.
Dark truths are being revealed ongoing.
Yeah.
It feels like it's already started.
Did he?
And it feels like we're on the verge of some sort of paradigm shift.
Epstein.
Yeah, we are, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that 100. And I think everybody sees something coming, and a new knowledge just coming, and a new shift that things that I know that imagine a world without oil.
So you think we're going to have free energy at some point soon or something.
Imagine the world without rockets.
Right.
Electric.
So that kind of knowledge alone would change
No rockets. That means pure UFOs just flying around.
everything.
Right.
All of humanity. And so that's in our future.
Well, that was Thomas Townsend Brown's
It's gonna be the real Jetsons, boys and girls.
vision, a world beyond rockets that, he had this model of electrogravitics, which connected electromagnetism and gravity, which,
Right.
in kind of our standard physics is, we don't have a link between those two things.
Right.
And if you were to get a link, if the input was pure electromagnetism or, electrical, and the
Electrical.
output was some sort of gravitational perturbation, that would be paradigm shifting. I mean,
Exactly.
you get well beyond what SpaceX is, which is extremely inefficient. Most of
I'm gonna tell you how efficient it is. When they call the electrician and they gotta go wire up these things, I'm gonna tell you how efficient it is. Did these things run off of 120 volts, single phase, or are they gonna be off a single phase 240, right? Or are they gonna run off of 277? Or are they gonna be asking for some chunky wire, maybe some 480 up in there, right? Maybe 750s. I don't know. I'm gonna find out though. I'm gonna be the first one they gonna call to wire that shit up.
I believe the Starship, their latest rocket, is, I think it's 5,000 metric tons. And
damn, unless it's like free energy, then what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna lose my job.
An extremely high percentage of that. I mean, the payload capacity of it is like 150 tons. So
Yeah.
that ratio alone, it's all fuel. The whole
Right.
thing is fuel.
Right.
That's not efficient. That's not alien interstellar space travel. Doesn't make sense.
Well, I imagine a day that we won't need those things.
Right.
In fact, they probably already have that.
Do you think they do?
I think so.
Really?
I think it's possible.
So why not? Why not let it out then?
Well,
Because
information. You don't want to tell the next guy what you're doing.
It would change everything. It could create it's something that has to be given slowly.
It's too disruptive.
Too disruptive, yeah. Imagine.
It would definitely be destabilizing for institutions.
Exactly.
If you had, say, right now we're paying, I'm just going to throw fake numbers out there, but $15, per kilowatt hour for
Right.
electricity or whatever. If that reduced to 10 cents per kilowatt hour, a whole lot of institutions would kind of crumble. Corporations would experience a lot of, like, for the people who are like, it wouldn't, destabilize things. I think that's crazy. I think it would.
Oh,
I think
well.
it'd be very positive.
Well, it would be in the end, but imagine the oil tankers, the thousands of them, or refineries and all the jobs that's
Sure.
involved with it. So
Sure. Yeah, but
So-
then imagine the abundance on the other side.
Yeah.
All of those people, their quality of life would be dramatically
Different, yeah.
better.
Yeah.
So
is that the new knowledge? I don't know, but I think that there's a whole lot of things that are going to come forward that have been hidden from us, and the main thing is the truth that we're not alone.
yeah. I mean that's clear to me. I think that's definitely
Yeah.
a thing.
And so I believe next year we'll be closer to that than
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah.
And the word apocalypse, by the way, you know what that means?
Unveiling.
Yeah, to reveal a secret.
To reveal the secret.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
The
all. And people
apocalypse.
think when you hear that, and if you look on Google, it
No,
says
for
the
real.
ultimate destruction. the
Right.
end.
That's what I
You know,
thought.
it's lying to us. That's not what the word means at all. It
Yeah.
means to reveal that which has been hidden.
And it's the veil thinning, and I think for some people that will be very good, and for other people it will be very bad. It depends
Yeah.
on your orientation to it,
Right.
and I think it does have this connotation of
Stargate.
Beelzebub coming down and breathing fire onto everybody,
Right.
and sorting people and whatever. But like,
For
I think if
real.
you were oriented in a good way spiritually, I don't think it'll necessarily be bad for you. I also don't even, we're talking about it like it's one, crazy event with these like divine beings. Maybe it's like a slow moving
That's
thing.
exactly the way I see it. It's not like snap your fingers and something. We're not going to wake up on Easter or whenever that time happens.
Yeah.
I'm torn, by the way, because for 8 years I wrote and talked about this alignment being in September or somewhere in the fall, because that was the date given to me by some people into astrology. And then they come back right when I go to write my book and say, oh, we made a mistake. It said Easter. And I thought, well, that sounds plausible because the lady's always coming around Easter. I have this insane experiences every year at Easter.
Are you still having them?
Yeah.
That's amazing. So you still speak to this
every year.
And you think it's the same, the Virgin Mary, Hathor, Demeter, you think all of these...
I think it's the Sophia, the wisdom, the Holy Spirit.
So that would be kind of the Gnostic version or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's who I think that this being is. It was a spirit, and it was definitely holy in her presence, right? And so, and when she physically impacted me, because the wind blew me backwards to the ground. It was such a blast of wind that blew me down, and I started researching that. And the word spirit is the wind, right? And the word Holy Spirit is the breath of God. But it was the wind that affected me, and the power from it. This cow came over me, but the wind pushed me back.
What does she look like?
Looked like the most beautiful 35, 40-year-old woman you've ever seen. Just glowing and typical Virgin Mary apparition type thing. And you know, this thing, this spirit appears in every country. It appeared to the Native Americans in the Wild West back. You know, they called her the White Buffalo Calf Lady. The Egyptians called her Hathor, and earlier before Met, and the Birth Mother, the Creator. In Proverbs in the Bible, chapter 8 and 9 talks about wisdom. It's the name of the chapters, and it talks about, and she was created before the earth was created, before the beginning of time.
Wow.
So who is she? I don't know. But that's my thought.
What was the feeling that came over you when you saw her, when you see her regularly?
It's when I first saw her, it was very impactful because the cow ran me over, and so I had this extreme fright to start with. And then I land on my back, and I roll over to get up and run, and there's this beautiful woman. So I went from extreme fear to, oh my God, what is this in front of me?
Is the cow running you over part of the whole thing? Is
that was part of her coming at me. She came at me at night out of the darkness. As a wind, the wind hit me, and as I'm going backwards to the ground, I see a translucent cow run over top of me, and I could see stars up through the thing. I'm like, oh my God, and I was frightened so bad, I landed on my back, and I turned to get up and run, and there's this woman about from here to that camera, 3 feet off the ground, hovering, and she looked at me, and she said, you know why I'm here. And I'll tell you why she said that, because 5 years had gone by, 2007 to 2012, and I had been beaten down and broken by the community. My children were falling apart. The schools, the teachers were calling them to the side. Is your dad crazy? We hear about all this. Are you all right? Somebody from there called social services on me, and I had to fight to be at home with my children. It was that bad. So 5 years of that, I walked out on Easter, Saturday night, Easter of 2012. Sunday morning is Easter, right? And I shouted to the sky, thank you for saving me. Thank you for healing me. But you've ruined my life. Now my children are affected, and I have caused them great harm, and I'll never speak about this again. Even though I had the desire, they put this in me, like the famous movie Close Encounters, where you see he's making a mashed potato mountain in dirt, and he's throwing it in the window and bushes, and he's creating devil's tower, right? He didn't know what it was, but it was in his head. So I was that guy. I had to tell everybody. And the more I told it, the more trouble I got myself into.
And what you're referencing with your family is Junior, your son, who had gone looking for you, also saw beings, was really shocked
at
what he experienced.
It was a community that caused him to want to leave home.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. He was 17 years old, and my right hand, it was with me everywhere I went. And we come home telling the world about it, and now the whole community has come on us. And so 5 years into it, I'm out telling the heavens, I quit. I'll never talk about it again. And then she appears and says, you know why I'm here. This is your burden. You must bear. You have to tell what you know. And if you do, I will allow you to video record and film my presence and share it with others.
The lady said
She told me that.
And are you going to?
Well, let me tell you, from 2007 to 2012, I had zero data. I was out every night with a camera trying to get pictures to save myself from the community, right? The more I tried, the less it would let me film it. It'd be hovering in the trees behind my house. I pull the camera out and it would vanish.
Yep.
Every time. So I was angry about that. I'm trying to prove myself sane. And my child is now left home because the community has just been tough. So she's like, you're not going to quit. I'm going to help you. So from that point forward, I started being able to film it and sharing it with anybody. And I've amassed terabytes and terabytes of data.
Damn.
Video, photo, audio. And never a picture until 2012 when she came.
Why do you think these guys from NASA are showing up at your door? We mentioned Tim Taylor earlier. He's a NASA mission controller, but Hal Povenmire also showed up originally. And I think you, Ryan, your son, mentioned that kind of at the end of his life, you realized that he was both CIA and NASA.
Yeah.
Damn.
And so what do you think their interest in all of this is?
And there are a lot more NASA guys. That was just two of them.
Really?
In fact, I had dinner with Hal's wife this weekend. She came from Florida to Chris Jr.'s wedding.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we love them. And but there are a lot of other NASA guys that I'm currently talking with. Several. One tells me wherever I go, but they're all interested.
They tail you wherever you go.
They're with me.
Really?
Yeah, usually traveling with me. Somebody associated with that, yeah.
What do you think they want?
They all want to study it. They want to know, and they observe it with me. I take them out, and we do a lot of work.
Are they with you in Austin, Texas?
No, but they wanted to be. I only have one night, and my wife's friend traveled with me because she was at our house, and her kids are right down the street. But usually I go nowhere without somebody with me for a reason.
Wow.
Yeah.
They want to know everything.
That caused me to want to have somebody with me all the time.
What happened that caused you to want to not leave, go anywhere unaccompanied?
Hey, yo, bad play. Sure. Watch out for fake, 'cause this shit that we sell is illegal.
Well, I've been threatened a few times by different ones, and I was at the PSI games this year. PSI games, I call it PSI. PSI games, and came out of a conference speaking, and when I walked out the door, this mad lady comes running up to me and tries to kidnap me.
What?
Yeah. Has something with drugs on it. Tried to get me in a van with no driver, with no tags on it. And security had to come. They had to call the law on her. Yeah, so.
Crazy
people.
Damn, that's crazy, man.
Yeah, I imagine you attract a lot of nutty people.
Big time.
Big time.
What do you think the Vatican knows about all of this? If they had a picture of you and they were doing some ceremony about you and you were supposed to come, what do you think they think of you?
Well, I can share a couple photos of you for that, but I got 3 pictures, quite a few paintings that they have in the Vatican that Diana sent me from there. And Pope Francis, she said to tell me that they know that they're angels, that they don't mean to harm us, but their energy, if they get excited, can cause harm to a human. So just be careful and try to ask it not to get too close to you. And these 3 photos or paintings show orbs with angels in them. That's what they told me.
Yeah, because you have Saint Francis of Assisi,
Yep.
who she writes about in 13th century Mount Laverne in Italy.
Right.
Brother Leo is right next to him, and he sees this angel. But if you look at the original Greek translation, it's a flaming torch.
Yep.
She thinks it's this UFO experience, and that the stigmata he receives, these wounds on his hands, are actually electromagnetic damage. That Gary Nolan or somebody studying kind of modern experiencers interacting with UFOs might just say, oh, that's like an electromagnetic burn. Or you see it in Close Encounters of the Third Kind. You see the burn on his face.
I got radiation burns, plasma radiation. That's what NASA told me it was.
So you also got plasma radiation burns.
No, I didn't, but I was warned a million times by Hal Povenmire and different ones at NASA kept calling me honestly over and over, don't let him get too close. Don't get too close to him. Hal was telling me that they knew the voltage was like 33 million volts in one of these things, and if it got near me, it would kill me dead.
So they have like a scientific model of how these angels work at NASA.
They know a lot more than we know, than we think they do. They just don't share it, right?
So who is this team between CIA and NASA that knows a lot about angels?
Well, I don't know that, but I know the NRO is the ones that have the keys to this thing.
Really? And why do you think that?
Because they have the keys to all the satellites and all the eyes on the sky, and they're the ones that every rocket, when it goes up, right? They observe every aspect of that rocket for mechanical reasons, and for a surprise visit that happens pretty much every time they launch one.
Do you think that rockets attract UFOs?
That's what I'm saying. Every time they send one up, it attracts them, and they'll come up and look at it if it has weapons on board.
Does Tim Taylor know Elon Musk?
Yeah.
Do they work together?
For sure, yeah.
Did Tim ever tell you that?
Well, he mentioned his name, but he didn't say he worked for him. But he controls all the launches.
Control
his name. But
He said 100%.
Elon.
He'll come up and look at every aspect of that rocket for reasons, for mechanical reasons, and for a surprise visit that happens pretty much every time they launch one.
Do you think that rockets attract UFOs?
That's what I'm saying. Every time they send one up, it attracts them. And they'll come up and look at it if it has weapons on board.
Does Tim Taylor know
They'll
Elon
disable
Musk?
them.
Yeah.
Do they work together?
For sure, yeah.
Did Tim ever tell you that?
Well, he mentioned his name, but he didn't say he worked for him. But he controls all the launches.
Controls all the launches?
Tim does. He's the launch guy. He's the Dragon. His console is called Dragon Control.
And he controls
He's
all
the
of the
dragon.
launches
He's the
out
guy.
of Cape Canaveral? Or?
He's the guy. He's the one. And I'll tell you what he does. When they fire a rocket up, right? They have these big ground-based cameras, like on a World War II battleship, where they sit on a gun and they could turn a handle and the gun would go around, and they could control this thing they're sitting on. Well, they have big binoculars on it like that, and they can get on this thing and follow this rocket up. And they got it to about 50,000 feet. Then it gets blurry. So at that point, it's intercepted by a WB-57 run out of Houston by a good friend of mine, which is the National Reconnaissance Office. Works with Taylor. So his crew's up there at 50,000 feet, and it intercepts the rocket. So they film it with 7 cameras on that thing where it goes right on up. When it gets up to 100,000 feet, then it's intercepted by F-104 Starfighter, equipped with another 7 or 8 cameras on that. And so it trails it right on up until it runs out of sight of it, and then the satellites take it over. And the only ones that can look at the satellites are these NRO guys. And Tim walks out of his control into a private room where all the screens are.
Private room.
So his eyes are on all that.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
How did he get into that line of work? Because if you read Launch Fever,
He is the dragon in a private room with all the screens and take a look at all the visitors that come in and watch our launches. Just make sure we just ain't got no rockets in it. No nothing. No missiles. No nothing.
I don't think he's traditionally credentialed or trained.
Crazy.
Well, my friend from Houston told me he helped him get that position.
And who's your friend from Houston?
Well, I can't say his
Okay.
name. He lives right down the road from here on a big ranch right out here. Yeah.
Well, I'd love to meet him.
Yeah.
We could figure it out.
I'll show you a picture of him later.
Okay, cool. Wow, fascinating.
Yeah.
And because Tim also works at Aerospace Corporation,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And what do you think the link is between NASA and Aerospace Corporation?
I know a lot of those guys are NRO.
Okay, interesting.
And they carry Blackberries everywhere they go.
Blackberries.
Yeah.
Not
Blackberries.
iPhones. Androids.
They have all that, but they have Blackberries. They do their business.
Do you think he's a time traveler?
I think it's entirely possible. Honestly,
what?
I can tell you a story about him.
Yeah.
What?
It's in my book.
A time
I think it made it in. I wrote 140,000 words, and we only published 85, and that was what they recommended for the right size of book, right? So, but in one of the stories, I talk about Tim. Right after we came back from Zanesville, Ohio, he came to my house, and we had this famous tree on my yard that caught fire. There's a video out on the internet. You can see Chris Bledsoe burning tree. Well, we had this tree that just spontaneously combusted in the backyard. It rained for 2 days, ground's wet, everything's wet. And my wife and I walk out the back door at 9 o'clock, and this poof, it erupted into flames and was shooting.
What up, Jesse? I see you,
15 feet
champ.
up through the tree. And she put it out 3 times with a hose pipe. It kept reigniting itself. And so that got the attention of everybody. And Tim wanted to see this tree. So he's at my house. I picked him up at the airport. He goes to my daughter's homecoming game that night. She was a little homecoming princess in the 10th grade. Now she's has a double master's from NYU. So that's been a long time ago, right? We walk up to this tree and having just a good, conversation. And all of a sudden, the one side of the tree is open where it burnt from the inside. The tree caught fire in the inside and burnt a hole through the side of the tree.
Damn.
And when we walked up to it, he walks up and puts his head right up to look up in the tree. And all of a sudden, this snake comes out of the tree, this silver snake. And it was perfectly... I'd never seen anything like it ever. It was silver as a silver automobile. It's perfect color.
Cow, a snake.
He jumps back and he grasps for air. Oh my God, just like that. And he looks at me. And he was short with words. And he said, my grandmother is full-blooded Choctaw Indian. And I went to school on a minority grant. My grandma told me if I ever saw a silver snake, it was part of their history, right? She said it would be a message from God.
Oh, damn.
And he saw that and told me all about it, but I watched his reaction, and it got the best of him when that snake came out of that tree.
And you saw the snake.
I was standing beside him, yeah.
What do you think the message could have been from God?
It was a message from him for him to understand this whole thing was from God somehow or another.
And how does one of the most interesting
That's crazy. God's still trying to tap in.
I wonder is if you read American Cosmic or talk to Diana Pasulka, it's almost like they visited the Vatican archives. He figured out a way in before she had gotten there, and then they were sort of celebrating him at the Vatican Observatory. Like, why would the Vatican Observatory know who a random NASA mission controller is? It makes me think he is not a random NASA mission
he's
controller.
not a random guy at all. He's, let's just say he runs with the biggest.
Damn.
How so? Do you think he has a connection with the president?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
he briefed Obama
He's
on
the
me.
one-
That's where this comes from.
He's the one who tells the president the info.
He
Damn.
briefed Obama on it.
It came from him with a dinner napkin from Camp David, Maryland.
And you're sure of that?
Positive.
And did he tell you that he briefed Obama?
No, he didn't tell me that, but I know.
Hey, that's the definition of where, if we ever heard the saying, even if they wrote it on the napkin, you wouldn't believe it, right? That's a stamped napkin where that's right there telling you, I can write it on a napkin for you, brother, and you wouldn't believe it.
That's what it means.
Because of the letterhead.
Yeah. And where it came from.
Bob McGuire, who is, I think, former Intel and a friend of yours, came on the show, and he said, that cannot be faked.
Right.
That definitely came from Camp David.
Yeah.
It's a napkin and an envelope with the napkin partially obscuring the address that's on the envelope. I knew the address because it was the address of Chris Bledsoe. I knew the napkin because it was the presidential seal on a napkin from Camp David. There's only one way you can have that napkin, because it's a crime to copy the presidential seal. There's only one person that can get you to Camp David. And the picture was mailed to him by Tim Taylor.
By Tim Taylor.
And the only person that story can have been told to in that envelope was Barack Obama.
Oh my God.
The letter to me is ironclad proof that Chris's story was taken all the way to Barack Obama.
Via Tim Taylor.
Yes.
You might think he was trying to throw you off the trail if he said, I briefed the president and was bragging or whatever, but
Well, he
he
didn't
sort of
say
found it
that.
out independently.
Right, I found it out. I didn't know what it meant, but I knew that he told me he just returned from Camp David. And it was at Christmas when he gave
Oh, so
it to me.
he told you that?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
And he said I was at the dinner table with the president and handed me that
He said
napkin.
that?
Yeah.
Okay, so he did tell you that.
But he didn't tell me he briefed him, but he did give me the napkin and the
Whoa.
and this. Yeah.
And you believe him?
Yeah. Had no reason not to.
Mm.
You know?
Have you ever caught him in a lie?
No.
Ever?
I wouldn't. No, not that I can recall.
Everything he said has either come out to be true or you're waiting for confirmation.
Right. Right.
Wow. Have you independently verified
Some of what
the
he's
things
told
that
me,
he
yeah,
said?
100%.
Is there an
yeah.
example of that?
No, but it's just, it'd be like, it's just so hard to pinpoint any one thing.
Sure. Or like, I don't know, some of the things about how the NRO or NASA work together. Have you been able to verify it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that the Big Dipper or Ursa Major has anything to do with the UFO phenomena? You've said that you've seen UFOs come from that constellation specifically.
I have but I've learned since then, that doesn't matter.
Mm.
It's wherever I look.
Mm.
I can take you out at night and face one certain direction and only have a hole to look through that direction, and it'll come from there.
Mm.
We can turn in any direction and focus there, and that's where it'll come from.
So do you think the Vatican and the president and whoever Tim Taylor, the hammer, do you think they're all coordinating in some way? Like this archangel, the
hell
Vatican,
yeah.
and the president? Or what do you think the connection is there?
I don't have a clue. I don't know. I'm just telling you what I was told, right?
Yeah.
So, and I've been told a lot of things, but he told me about the movie, The Adjustment Bureau, and the story about the hammer.
Yeah. Have you ever watched the Netflix show Dark by any chance? No?
I haven't.
Do you think that you mentioned Tim's grandmother being Native American?
So is he a time traveler? I know where he came from, right?
Who?
As a young boy.
Which is?
Well, he told me the story about his upbringing, his Native American grandma. And so I'm just answering that question you asked earlier. Is he a time traveler? I don't know. I just know he told me and shared with me his childhood. So
Did he say anything else about Thomas Townsend Brown?
not a lot other than we went there. We went to into conversation about his daughter, and that he was actively, and I actually have the manuscript saved on my phone.
Let me get over here. Put this up. Just like this. Let me see here. All right, y'all. Y'all seen it. So, man, hey, that's crazy, right? That's why I've been, it's too much, 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 right? Man, it was a good little live, man. And I'm going to start doing more of these. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get this live and I'm going to clip it into shorts and stuff like that. So I appreciate everybody stopping by. You know, it is getting late. Got to go to work tomorrow. So, yeah, man, I'm glad everybody stopped by. I see everybody in the building. Jesse, what's up, man? I see you, champ. Piff in the building. I see you. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Let's see who else we got up in here. Brian from Scotland. Let's go, champ. Yes, sir. Miss Rostam. Let's go. We got a bunch of people up in here. 420 Ed was in the building. Let's go. Yeah, man, we got a bunch of people. Frog Walk. Dave Zoom. Let's go. That's what I'm talking about. Beans the Blaze. Let's go. Beat the Arrow. Salute, champ. Let's go. That's what I'm talking about. Everybody who stopped by, man. Token Time, I know you was in the building. That's right. Everybody, man. Everybody who stopped by. Salute to y'all. Y'all part of the team, man. I rock with y'all. Y'all rock with me, man. So, you know, we just trying to be us. You know, we're not trying to be like nobody. We're trying to be us. So, y'all rocking with me, man. Tap in with your boy. And this is what we're going to be doing. We're going to be, you know, it's the disclosure season, right? Disclosure season. So, I feel like why not be part of it? I've always loved it. I love weed. I love smoking. I love music and aliens. Everybody knows that, man. I'm a big alien fanatic, you know, always have been since a little child. So why not, you know, talk about it, be it, and watch it with y'all, experience it together as all the knowledge comes out, because there's going to be a lot of knowledge coming out within the next years. You got to think about this. Look, man, all the advancements we got right now with computers, right? Not too long ago, I was on dial-up, you know, covering the modem with a blanket, you know, at 11, 12 o'clock at night, trying to watch some other stuff, right? And y'all hear is, and then, so yeah. Now we advance to modems and stuff like that. Then we advance to laptops. And then all that within this small little time. That's what they're doing right now. They're just releasing little bits of information, little by little. But this information is going to get released so fast that that's just the way it is, right? At the time that they're releasing the information, by 2026, I think we're going to have it damn near, like most of it. And if not, something's going to release it. Like to the point where it's just going to be out there. They're just gonna just let it flow. Whatever you want to know, you know. How far down the rabbit hole do you really want to go? You know, because I think there's gonna be enough talk for everybody, man. So if you're not on board with it, you know, I would say get on board with it, because the knowledge is coming. There's gonna be a lot of more people talking about it, and that's what it's all about, man. It's about the knowledge. So I appreciate everybody stopping by, and salute to everybody in the chat, man. I'll see y'all.
This is your man 702 Exotic. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you want to watch another video like this.